I love the suspense of it. You know they get here. You know they're bad, right? You know they're going to fuck up. Hopefully we can cuss on this.
You can't.
No. You know they're going to come wreak havoc. And
I'm so glad you finished that sentence.
Welcome to A Cast With No Name. We are your hosts. I'm Jay.
And I'm Matt.
And who the fuck are you?
oh my god, I'm Jason.
This is episode 24. This episode will be discussing our top 5 90s action movies. But first, don't forget to visit our website where you can comment on episodes and write to our email, both of which is in the description. But first, we do have a guest today, Jason. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get here?
Well, I just wandered to the front door, and you guys were doing this. No, I'm kidding.
We were handing out hot sandwiches.
Yeah. I bugged Matthew to let me be a guest on this podcast because I love it. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you
Yeah,
here.
I'm more than excited to have him.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'm.
I am. It's going to be great.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's
we're
fun.
having a great time.
Yeah.
Everyone is fun. Just so everyone can kind of know where you're coming from when you present your top 5.
Yes.
Because this will be a long one. So put on a fucking snack and like get a drink because we're going to be going long and hard all night.
You need to calm down.
Well, no, you can't expect anything else.
I don't like where you're going with
three
this.
guys in a basement.
Put on a snack?
Put on a snack.
I don't know what that
Put it in the
means,
microwave.
but
You put
I'm going
a
with
snack
it.
on yourself.
You're the professional. I'm going to let you.
I am not.
Go.
I've never.
Yeah.
No one's ever.
No
made
one's
that mistake.
ever said that. One time.
But so they know where you're coming from. What is the first movie you remember watching?
The first movie I remember watching, I don't remember the name of it, but it was the Michael Jackson movie.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
What was
Captain
that called?
AO or I?
No, I think he's talking about Moonwalker.
Moonwalker. Yes.
Moonwalker.
Yep.
With Joe Pesci, right? He's the evil
yes.
dude.
Yes.
And he dances with like a jackrabbit or like a Wile Coyote claymation thing.
Sounds right.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was a huge Michael Jackson fan, so
Yeah?
watched that all the time.
Yeah.
There you
You,
go.
don't remember that?
No.
I remember Smooth Criminal, the video.
Yeah.
That's in it.
Yeah,
Oh.
scene.
The scene where he finds like the kids.
Oh God.
And then
That sounds really bad.
I know. In retrospect, whoopsie. But no, he finds the kids and it like transitions into the Smooth Criminal video.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. That one takes you back a little bit.
It does. I kind of want to watch it now.
All right. Well, hopefully the next one will be better. What's your favorite movie of all time? 1, 2, 3, go.
Favorite movie of all time I can watch over and over again is Fallen, Denzel Washington. Love that one. Yeah, John Goodman.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the old actor's name. Shit.
The old
He
actor.
was in Animal House. He was the professor. The chief.
Oh, Donald Sutherland?
Yes, Sutherland.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
No, but I just love the concept of Fallen. I thought it was really well done. I thought they should have made a sequel. And they never did, unfortunately.
Yeah. There we go. Adjusting
yeah.
his levels, I like that. I
Yeah.
can hear him now better.
There you go.
It's that side of the mic. I don't know why. It's that side.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you got to talk in right here.
Yep.
Yep, right
They're
there.
perfect. That's
Got it.
perfect.
Right where the microphone is facing you, that's where you talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never been in front of one of these, but I just won't move the rest of the podcast.
We'll just yeah. We'll construct an
if you
apparatus, Jeff.
Lift up your left arm, and then a little bit better reception. So
Yeah.
we should be good.
No, that's
Got
a good
it.
pick though. I like Fallen a lot. That's
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite genre of movie?
Genre is probably action's up there. Anything historical, I did have a useless degree from Purdue in history that I guess I can claim a little bit with that.
So you should know all about movies. You're a history buff.
Yeah,
There is
should.
no other history other than
Yeah.
movies.
That's right.
So,
You guys are right.
So is it historical dramas, or is it more anything like anything period pieces? So it could be like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter because it's in the history, or is it has somewhat historically accurate?
I wouldn't say it's got to be historically accurate, but it's got to be not historically ridiculous.
Got it.
Like Vampire. Although I did want to watch Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but I never got around to it.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think anyone else got around to it either.
I
except
imagine you did watch that.
I sure did. Well, so you're talking about a movie like Braveheart,
Braveheart's great.
where they take some
Not historically
liberties. Yeah,
accurate, but
Not
great.
really.
Yeah.
but it is a great movie.
Yes.
Matt. Awesome. Well, cool. Let's keep things moving along.
Yeah,
Let's each take turns to talk about the criteria.
let's do it. You want to go first?
we use. Sure, yeah. So when picking my top 5, because 90s is one of the better decades of action movies, I did several things. One, I felt like it had to have classical action. So, meaning guns, chases, shit like that, to where...
You mean action?
Yeah, well...
Like they used to do?
But like guns. So,
I know what you mean.
For
Yeah.
example, Jurassic Park is not on my list.
Right.
Because that's more of a survivor film, kind of adventure a little bit, but it's not like one person against another person kind of action. Another thing is it had to, since it's not the best movies with the best action scenes, so it had to have good story, has to have good characters, as well as great action scenes. But if there's no stories or characters you care about, then
You don't give a
no
shit.
one cares.
Yeah.
Also, it had to have rewatchability, something that you could watch over and over and still be entertained by. And then I also gave it bonus points if it brought something new to the table that wasn't around before.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah.
it's a good set.
So that was pretty much my criteria that I picked.
Okay. All right. Well, I tried to steer away from superheroes. Like Blade comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. I had to steer away from Steel and
You had to steer away
had
from
to.
it?
Had to. I know.
That's Shaq's best movie. I mean, I don't know how you can steer away from that.
I know. And Kazam.
It's so good.
I know. Action had to be the centerpiece. So I'm thinking of movies like Heat, where it has one of the best shootouts in cinema history, but it's more of a drama.
Yeah,
It's not
it's a
this-
crime thriller
Correct.
as opposed to, yep.
And like suspense, like I'm thinking like Seven and Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't consider those action movies, but they have great action scenes, but it's more suspenseful and
Yep.
mystery, not really just full-blown action. And I didn't put stuff that we've already talked about on there. Like I already told you, I thought Demolition Man was like my favorite, one-man army movie with like Sly Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Seagal or Van
Yep.
Damme. So I didn't repeat myself doing that. And I didn't put The Matrix on there because I thought it would be on our list today, one of yours. And it's like such a cut above better than. It's so obvious to me. It's like a masterpiece, so I just didn't put it on the list, even though it's probably. It's a revolutionary movie. It's just
So
unbelievable.
You didn't put it in your top 5
I didn't.
because it's in your top 5.
Yeah,
The movie's
it's
so
above.
good.
It's above the top 5.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk about some other movies.
I'm trying to understand that logic. I think I get it,
Yeah.
but it's in my list.
Tell me why I'm wrong,
just gonna-
Jason.
I'm just going to point it out. It's in my list.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he was probably just trying to keep from us repeating ourselves. Because
Yeah.
what was it?
I like it. I like it.
It was Alien movies. I feel like half of our movies were the same.
Yep.
For our list or whatever. Which.
And we did
Yeah.
the top 5 Man versus Beast, and we both had Jaws. And
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to steer away from the
Yeah.
obvious
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Anyway, that was mine.
I like it. Man, you guys made that sound really good.
Yeah. What'd you do, Jason?
Well, I
Flipped a coin.
I went to Google. I Googled 90s action movies, and then I looked at the list. And I did find myself actually, kind of using nostalgia
Okay.
as a criteria.
How you felt when you watched it?
How I felt, and also like what I remembered from it, because in the 90s, started going to movies with my mom, and like some of them, like one on my list, like it's the first movie I remember going to with her, but it's also a great action movie, so that's why it's on there. Other than that, just sheer entertainment value, I would say, like how much I really enjoyed the movie. And I'm going to piggyback off Jay with rewatchability, because there's definitely some on here. Like everyone on this list, if I was flipping channels and found it, I would stay on it. So yeah,
That's
I would
good.
say those three.
It's a good list.
You guys made it sound a lot better than I did, but
Mine sounds pretentious. So.
yeah,
Yeah, we
It's fine.
just keep saying words until they form a sentence. Sometimes I can't even say them.
it comes out well.
Oh, Jay can't speak.
I can't.
He doesn't know how to do that.
I am borderline always having a stroke, and that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I struggle
It
through
makes
The
this
struggle is
podcast
real.
lively.
Yeah.
Entertainment value. What can you say?
How many times
Yeah.
will Jay shit himself today?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
Cool.
that's our criteria. Let's.
You want to start with honorable mentions?
Oh,
you
I
have
was going to
something
ask
to
you
talk
that. Do you
about?
want to do the top 5 and then do honorable mentions? Because I feel like some of the honorable mentions might.
I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Then we do top 5 first then.
Okay. Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
And we can kind of just rattle off honorable mentions afterwards.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, number 5. Jason, you are the guest.
I
And
am.
Let us judge you more harshly than anybody else. So we'll have you start with your top 5.
Okay. Yeah, and this was the tough one for me. I've actually got on my list 2 of them at the 5 spot because they were 2 good ones. But I'll save one for my honorable mention, and I think I'm going to start with Braveheart because I have some Scottish heritage
You
on
do?
my dad's side. Yep. We used to be John Stone. Now we're John Stone. And although the movie itself, if you compare it to actual history of William Wallace, is not, that great. But the entertainment value of the movie is awesome. A lot of good scenes. Mel Gibson's Scottish accent is just on point, and you guys cannot deny that.
I love you. Always
Always have.
Yeah, not really. But I did just like the story of it, the way they followed it, and one of my favorite lines that Murph loves to quote is when Longshank says, "You know what's wrong with Scotland? It's full of Scots." So good.
It is good. It is good.
But the action scene, like the battle scenes, are fantastic. The first big battle at Stirling was awesome. That's like the first battle scene I remember as like watching a movie too. So that one definitely sticks with me. And just although I'm not a big Mel Gibson fan, I did enjoy his acting in it. Just not from like how he portrayed William Wallace, but just how he was in the movie.
Yeah. Charisma and everything.
Yeah.
And then the I don't know, just the revenge story with his wife. How he fought till the end. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good one.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
I think up until that point, I don't know if there was a movie that captured battle scenes like that, like medieval battle scenes, like that was gory and brutal. I'm trying to think of one before.
Yeah, because a lot of
I don't think
those
so.
historical epics. I'm spacing on anything that may have came out in the 80s, and Braveheart came out in what, 93, 94?
95.
95?
Yeah.
And but like a lot of those historical epics kind of like went by the wayside into the 70s and 80s because they were going more, film was changing at the time with Scorsese and all those guys to where it was just wasn't as huge. You had there wasn't a market for it because you had what was it, Spartacus, way back in the 60s, and 10 Commandments or Ben-Hur, like a lot of those huge epic things, and I feel like there was just a drought, and that was one of the first ones because after Braveheart, then you had again with Mel Gibson, Patriot, and you started having more and more historical dramas. Gettysburg, I feel like that came out I think in 92 or
It was a TV movie too. It wasn't I'm pretty sure it wasn't theatrical, right?
Yeah, they released it in theaters.
Okay.
So, because my father took me to go see it, and it was just it was just a super long movie. I'm sure they played it on TV a lot, but it was one of those movies that you could play on TV because you could split it up in 4 episodes.
But I don't remember it being brutal like Braveheart was.
No,
definitely wasn't.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot more graphic than what.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 4 hours? It was. I remember it being super long.
It might have been longer than that.
Even longer?
I think so. Yeah.
It was one of those that when you bought the VHS, you had 2 of them, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, look at you.
I know. Hey, maybe
The good
I
old
do
days.
belong here, guys. I
The
don't
good
know.
old days.
What about
VHSs?
Speaking of Civil War, though, Glory. Maybe I know that's older.
I can't remember if that was gory.
It wasn't
or
gory
not.
though.
It wasn't super gory.
No.
There were a few scenes but that one did have some decent battles in it. Not like the size of Braveheart, but they had a few battles in there too.
It wasn't you weren't seeing like hands chopped off and throat slit.
No,
like just the brutality of medieval warfare.
I do think a cannonball took off a guy's head though.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And then what year did that come
I think
out?
you're thinking of the Patriot.
That was the late 80s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patriot. The Patriot took off somebody's leg because it was like the cannonball was bouncing.
It was rolling.
Right?
Right?
And then like just like completely removed somebody's leg. I thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe it did take. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But Glory came out, I think, in the late 80s.
I thought that was
Matthew
later.
Broderick.
Yeah. Denzel,
Morgan Freeman.
What's the guy from Saw?
Carrie Ellis.
Carrie Ellis.
Yeah.
Princess Bride. Yep.
So. Yeah, no, because then after that you had like Saving Private Ryan and Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven. All these. They actually took chances on medieval, long, epic stories that actually got a theatrical run after that point. It's a good pick.
I love medieval.
I know.
It's crazy.
So do you like get a little tingle in your pants when he shouts freedom at the end?
I do get goosebumps a little bit still. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get a little emotional?
No.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like, in the living room, had to hide from my mom that I'm getting like, choked up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But it is. I mean, at the end, like you can still watch that end. They got the bagpipes playing.
Yeah.
He yells freedom, and his friends look up like, "What the hell's
why
wrong?
would you do that?
Why would you do that?" And
yeah,
it still gets you.
Yeah, it's got Brendan Gleeson in it.
It does.
The man's a treasure. Love him.
Is that his best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big
the big guy,
overtly Scottish dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
Yeah.
He actually, I'm looking forward to the Banshees of Isringhausen. I think is the new Martin McDonagh movie coming out with him and Colin Farrell.
I saw the trailer.
I love Martin McDonagh, so I'm pretty excited for that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Good number 5.
You don't have to say that just because I'm the guest.
I was quiet during that movie because I've only seen the whole thing, I think, maybe once.
Oh,
I think
wow.
Christy and I sat and watched it.
Really?
It was like shortly after. Well, because, I mean, my parents had watched it, but I think it was so long. I'm not into medieval stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, I had no desire to watch Game of Thrones. I had no desire for Lord of the Rings when I was that age.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I was older that I was actually enjoyed it. But
yeah.
But it's also one of those movies that's so long I can't even find the time to rewatch it if I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pushing 3 hours, isn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it's a long one.
I didn't even think of Braveheart making the list.
Wow. Don't make me feel good.
No. It's just...
Yeah, that movie never crossed my mind either. So, just in the epitome of 90s actions, like Braveheart just didn't even register.
Yeah. Didn't even register. No.
But no, good number 5.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to go next or you want me?
You go next.
Okay. My number 5, I went back and forth with... My numbers 3 through 5 could all be interchanged, I feel like, with half the movies that came out in the 90s. But I wanted to pick the ones that first came to mind. So my number 5 is kind of going off your transition from Braveheart. My number 5 is Tombstone, which they wanted to get
it's a good movie.
Mel Gibson in Tombstone, I believe, to play
Really?
Wyatt Earp, but they were unable to because he was busy with Braveheart.
Oh.
Makes sense.
So
That's good, though, because I enjoy Kurt Russell more.
Yeah,
as
Kurt
Wyatt.
did fantastic.
He's very good.
I think he would have been better than Mel.
Yeah.
I think he was better than
I don't think
Mel.
anyone can grow a mustache quite like Kurt Russell can.
No.
And I think it was just that time to where they were just trying to get everybody, or trying to get Mel Gibson for anything.
Well, at the time, he was probably
the biggest movie star.
Yeah, he had to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked Tombstone. Obviously for rewatchability, the story's good, the characters are awesome. Val Kilmer just kills it.
Kills it.
Yes, he does.
How did he not win the Oscar?
Yeah, that
he wasn't even
he
nominated.
was robbed.
Sacrilege.
But the fight scenes, I mean, they're quick.
Mm-hmm.
They're not drawn out. I mean, they're fairly realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the duels between Johnny Ringo and then you have Doc Holliday at the end. Then you have the shootout, the OK Corral. It's just chaotic and everything going everywhere. But so I picked that one also because I feel like that movie is one of the best portrayals of friendship between Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think gets talked a bunch about that movie, to where it's usually like the quotable lines or how good Val Kilmer is, and like the in some of the shootouts, and just being a more modern Western. But I think that friendship portrayal, a lot of people don't even talk about it. And there's like so many good scenes, like the when Doc Holliday's approaching or whatever, and you kind of get the feel from Wyatt's brothers, like they're not really the biggest fan of Doc Holliday.
Yeah, they don't like him a lot.
And Wyatt hears that he's in town, and he gets excited. He's like, Doc, huh? And he's like, he makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And that's all he has to say for that, to where he's my friend. And then also toward the end, when the deathbed scene, that whole interaction, to where throughout the whole movie you see them having each other's back. Doc Holliday always there for Wyatt and everything else, and then Wyatt wants to be there for his friend, and he's like, no, go away. Knowing that he's going to be dying, and he wants to spare his friend that. But I think it's one of the best portrayals of friendship, and it's more engaging than a typical Western. It feels very much like a 90s Western, to where it's very quick. Around the same time you had Unforgiven coming out, and that's more of a slow burn. That's more of like kind of a classical Western. But I think Tombstone, the rewatchability, you can watch it all the time. At least I can.
Yeah, it's great. Well, it's one of the best cast.
Yeah.
For a Western I can think of.
Yeah.
You got Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton.
Yeah,
Bill
Paxton.
Powers Booth.
Yep.
Michael Bean.
Sam Elliott's so good. Billy Zane. How about Billy Zane?
Billy Zane's in it.
Yeah, Billy Zane. You also
Prettiest
had
man in the West.
Billy Bob Thornton was in it.
That's right.
Oh yeah, real short.
And,
Yep.
And then you had the guy from Avatar.
Well,
who?
Badass. Billy Badass from Avatar.
Yeah.
With the scar. He's in Don't Breathe, too.
Yeah, he's more buff, and
He was in that?
55.
Yeah.
He played Ike Clayton.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, who's the guy? The Sandman from Spider-Man's in there too.
Oh yeah. Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yep. So yeah, everybody was in
Everybody.
There's the bunch.
Was no one doing anything? That's like all of Hollywood.
Everyone. Do you have a mustache? Yeah. Come over.
Yeah,
okay.
come over.
Who was the little guy too? The little guy who wanted to be friends with the Cowboys. He was a big name.
Oh, Jason Priestley.
Yeah.
Yeah. 90210.
That's
Yep.
right. Jeez.
I know. I just watched that on Sunday actually. Or yeah, was it Sunday? I forget.
I watched it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was on TV, and we passed it, and I stopped. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is a good ass movie.
One thing that struck me about that movie that was very weird, because I hadn't seen it in a while, was it kind of just ends.
It does.
It just ends, and it's like, Wyatt Earp lived happily ever after. The end.
Yeah. They're like old Western stars. They wept at his funeral.
I know. Yeah.
John Wayne wept.
Isn't he? Aren't they in snow like somewhere? They're dancing in
they're
snow.
dancing in snow.
Yeah. The one thing about that movie I love the pick, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
But tell us why you hate it.
I don't hate it.
You
but
critique it. Tell him why he's wrong.
I didn't really love the whole love interest between Wyatt and that actress. Like, I thought that was forced. I know why they did it, because, it's easy to have a happy ending with that, I think. But I don't know. I just didn't feel that part. But it's probably because I just wanted to see more Western action, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fair. I mean, it has no effect on the overall story.
Yes.
They could have completely removed the love interest, and it would have played exactly the same.
I think you said that a lot better than me right there. Yeah.
So,
but
I'll be a huckleberry.
and I mean, just
That's
because
a
he's
great line.
having difficulties with his wife doesn't mean he needs to find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those parts of the movie did drag.
Yeah.
And it's not like he had to save her. There was no reason story wise that relationship was important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
No, I hear you on that.
yeah. But I do love, and also on the, you mentioned the friendship. I think the brotherly connection is great too, between Sam, Bill, and Kurt. Like, they just they definitely got each other's backs, and like Wyatt didn't even want to get involved. But then Sam Elliott, they're breaking the law. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, we got to go do it.
We're breaking the law.
Oh hell, you're gonna go over there
Yes.
for a misdemeanor?
Yeah. Was this the time where Powers Booth had to be in every Western? I swear to God. He's in every Western, whether or not it's a movie or a TV show. It's awesome. Powers Booth. He's in it.
Remind me, who is that guy?
He's the evil dude.
Yeah,
he's like the leader of the gang.
Oh, he's the one who's like, well, bye.
Yeah.
That guy.
Bye.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's my number 5.
That's great.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, my number 5 is Mission Impossible, the very first one.
Good one.
Where to start? I mean, I love Brian De Palma a lot. He's one of my favorite directors, and I was surprised when I first saw this that it just blended mystery with action so well. The curveballs in the story, the shots. I mean, the fucking scene where they're getting the data from Langley, Virginia, with the. I mean, it's one of the best scenes ever.
Oh yeah,
ever put to film.
It's
fantastic.
Any scene to where everyone copies it in a spoof
exactly
is usually a good one.
Yeah, and just watching it, you're like quiet. You're trying to be quiet because they can't make noise. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. And then just the final train set piece was just fucking awesome. So good. The reveals at the end with Jon Voight, and that's another reason why I love it. I like Jon Voight a lot.
He's good.
I'll watch him in anything. But the way that the movie would trip you up with the mask and everything, it's just I'd never seen anything like that before. Tom Cruise is great in it. Oh,
it's something with that movie. I never watched the show, and
I didn't either.
Jon Voight's character, I believe, was a main character on the show. Not his character was a main character on the show, not Jon Voight, obviously. But I think he was like the leader of that team in the TV show, and that was like I remember that being one of the big twists, is that him actually being a villain as opposed to the typical hero that he did play, which I think kind of made that movie stand out on its own a little bit too.
Yeah. It's just a classic. I got a clip here for you. This is just where Ethan realizes he's getting fucked over. I just love it.
I can understand you're very upset. Kittredge, you've never seen me very upset. All right, Hunt. Enough is enough. You have bribed, cajoled, and killed, and you have done it using loyalties on the inside. You want to shake hands with the devil, that's fine with me. I just want to make sure that you do it in hell.
It's fucking awesome.
Now, since you can't see what that scene was showing, they were taking a dump.
Yes.
And at the end, one exploded. So they were.
The movie does that a lot, where and De Palma does that all the time. Where when there's a scene, there's emotions are intense. Like he ratchets up that violin. He does that all the time.
Music
every time. I just love it. It's just so good. I like the scene where he's talking to Jon Voight because he just figured out that Jon Voight was alive, and he's going through like the problem solving in his head, and there's different scenes and he's trying to figure it out. Like, no, I didn't go that way, and he switches to how it could have happened. It's like 3 different things that could have happened, and then when he realizes what actually happened, and Jon Voight fucked him over, he's like playing it cool, so that he doesn't realize that he figured him out, and he's just trying to act along.
Yeah, that scene, which I think he always knew that Jon Voight fucked him over. It's just he was playing it because he was conversing with Jon Voight.
Yeah.
To where Jon Voight's perspective.
Yep.
They're just having a normal conversation, but everything that he's saying in his mind, that is a good scene.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, it was jarring for me, because when did that come out? 96.
Yeah.
Because I was watching it, I was like, what? It felt like a mistake watching it until I realized, obviously, it was intentional once I got a little bit older. But the first time I saw that, I remember it being jarring because he was doing that different perspective thing, whatever you call it.
And it's so different from the other Mission Impossibles. Now, I mean, I love the Mission Impossibles. The action set pieces are amazing. But this is more story-driven than action-driven.
Yeah.
I think it encapsulates those both the best possible way. The other ones, I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot of story behind all the, the subsequent ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, oh, Tom Cruise is in space now. He's gonna ride a rocket from the moon to the Earth, and he's not gonna be able. He's gonna hold his breath the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Totally realistic.
starting off those movies, they had their own feel, and that's what I enjoyed about the Mission Impossible movies, because you had the first one, which is kind of like your classic spy thriller, Brian De Palma. Then you had the second one, which was a typical John Woo action movie with the flying doves and all
That's
that
right,
shit.
slow-mo.
And then you had J.J. Abrams, which is just basic action movie. I mean, it was engaging. It had an okay story. Then you had, was it Brad Bird?
Brad Bird, yeah.
Did the fourth one, and they all brought their own kind of subgenre to the movie, and they all had kind of a different feel from one to the next. And then until you got to Christopher McQuarrie, and then he did like the past 5 or 6 of them, however many they are now.
Well, they're Scientology buddies, so they got a
good
thick and thin.
Have they made that many? How many Mission Impossibles
They're
are there?
on 7.
Oh my god, that's as bad as Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Well, these are much better than Fast and Furious, I must say. Just a bit better.
It's about family.
It's about
family.
family.
I am family. But yeah, that's my number 5.
It's a good one.
Cool.
Love it.
Awesome. Number 4.
Number 4. All right, guys, we're getting a little bit of the nostalgia theme here, because this is another one I remember going to with my mom. Good old Independence Day. 96. Welcome to Earth.
It's a great line.
Welcome to Earth.
Earth.
EARF. Earth.
That would have made my list, but I stayed away from aliens.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So, great action. Totally believable.
Totally believable.
Totally.
Did you love the dog scene?
The dog scene, he made it.
He made it.
The lab made it.
Just warmed your heart, didn't it?
I know.
He outran a fireball.
And he jumped right perfectly through the doorway.
Yeah.
Because
oxygen would not be
No.
sucked out of that room at all.
And you know what? The dog heard her call.
Yep.
God knows how loud that shit would have been.
Dogs have good hearing, though.
Yeah.
Everyone else in that tunnel is fucking dead. That dog made it, so we're fine.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all right, everybody.
But I love the suspense of it. They get here. They're bad, right?
Yeah.
They're going to fuck shit up. Hopefully we can cuss on this.
You can't.
No. Fuck no.
Shit. They're going to come wreak havoc. And
I'm so glad you finished
that sentence.
yes. But there's some suspense before, because they ride the little helicopter up there, and then it opens the door and the lights shine, and I think they're trying to talk to us, and it's like, no, fuck you, boom.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, shit's going down, and then they start doing the attack. And how can you not love Jeff Goldblum as the nerdy scientist? He's like, I figured out their code.
Yeah.
They're using our satellites against us.
Yeah.
And the president, obviously, because they had a bad relationship with his wife, but it gets into it, and then when they go attack him, they got shields, and then Will Smith's best friend, what was his name?
Harry Connick
Harry
Jr.
Connick Jr. Yeah.
Yep.
And all hope is lost. I still get goosebumps when the president gives that 4th of July speech.
Yeah.
We will not go quietly into the night. That makes me want to get up and go fight somebody.
You know what? It makes me want to clip that.
You're going to clip it?
I'm going to clip it.
Do it.
Keep going.
But yeah, the whole thing's great. And then Randy Quaid.
What happened to Randy Quaid?
God, so good.
No one knows. He's out there somewhere, hopefully.
He was so good at it, and that's one of the best scenes at the end. Hello, boys. I'm back.
What happened to Randy Quaid?
I don't know.
Did he become like a
conspiracy theorist. And
okay.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that
he's
sucks.
kind of off the deep end.
His son's really good in The Boy. No, that's Dennis's son.
Yeah,
That's Dennis's son.
Never mind.
Yeah.
His nephew is good. But yeah, overall, great flick. Can watch it anytime it comes on. The second one was not good. I don't know if you guys watched. Resurgence.
It's bad.
I did not watch it.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
It's not good.
There's a spaceship that's as big as Earth. It
Big as Earth.
Earth.
Yeah. It encompasses the Earth. It's just so dumb.
It's not good at all.
It's not a moon. It's a space station.
We gotta go bigger. We gotta go better. The alien's got to be like 80 feet tall. And of course, there's an 80-foot tall like they ripped off aliens.
Yeah.
It's like there's a mother, queen alien, and she's running through the fucking desert, and she's like an 80-foot. It's like, all right, we've jumped the shark, ladies and gentlemen. But all right, let's.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as.
Oh.
We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Hell yeah. Look at the goosebumps. There they are.
That is very good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the right amount of cheese.
So good.
It's good on a cracker.
Yeah.
I love it.
And that they make it.
Emmerich best movie, probably next that and Stargate. I think.
Yeah, I like
probably.
Stargate a lot.
Ooh, Stargate was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good with directors. Like, who directed that?
Roland
Roland
Emmerich.
Emmerich.
Oh, okay.
The award-winning director of 2012.
Ooh.
Moonfall.
Moonfall?
The recent blockbuster that made $5.
Yeah.
And
10,000 BC.
Yep, 10,000 BC, and then
That was-
Day After Tomorrow.
Which yeah.
I will. All right. One problem this is more of a problem I have with Roland Emmerich.
Mm-hmm.
There is a movie. He steals shit. So there's a scene in Independence Day when they're driving to DC.
Yep.
And it's David and his father. They're driving, and they're the only car on the freeway going into DC. And then you have the other side, which is just gridlocked with traffic, people trying to escape the city.
Yep.
That shot was ripped off of a movie. Hold on.
Oh no.
Does he have it?
He's going.
Is he going to?
Yeah, he's going to his rack of.
Oh wow! I didn't even notice that behind me.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's actually not that bad compared to some people.
Okay.
What do you got there? Oh, is this a TV movie?
All right. Yeah. So this was.
Jay's got the obscure TV
that
movie
shot
reference.
was ripped off of a TV movie,
Yeah.
and the TV movie is also reminiscent. The title of the TV movie is reminiscent of The Day After Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Another Roland Emmerich movie, because the TV movie was The Day After.
That's right.
So he does not only rip off titles, but he rips off of shots, which I'm
Yeah.
sure is an homage or whatever, because he probably. This is a disaster movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Day After is.
Scared the shit out of people when that came out, by the way.
Yeah, and but yeah,
I love that.
That's just a quibble. But yeah, I remember when that trailer came out because I was a huge Fresh Prince fan.
Oh yeah.
And
Who wasn't?
yeah, and I remember the shot of they had a shot of Will Smith screaming, but he had his flight mask on, and I was like, "Is that Will?" Because this was other than Bad Boys and was it 6 Degrees of Separation,
Yep.
and like some of the smaller movies. He was really. This was his first blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Bad Boys wasn't that huge. I
No.
feel like it became huge on video.
It did.
Oh yeah, because that came out the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It did.
Because Martin Lawrence wasn't. He was known. I just don't think he was big. He didn't. I don't think he had Martin at the time. His TV show. I think
Yeah.
Martin came out after Bad Boys came out, and then he.
Yeah, because he
skyrocketed.
was a stand-up comic at
Yeah.
the time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and also, I mean, how and I'm going to critique myself here in my pick, but how realistic is it to infect an alien technology with a computer virus?
Well, if they don't have McAfee and they're not up to date, it's very likely.
What about Norton?
I don't know, but just
Is it McAfee or McAfee?
McAfee?
Whatever it is.
Jesus
No idea.
Christ!
I have no
fucking
idea.
Names.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah. Well, I will say that after this came out, like the floodgates were open for alien movies.
It was.
Just year after year, alien movie after alien movie.
And it was the first disaster movie in a long time.
Yeah.
Because again, you had a lot of those in the '70s, like Poseidon Adventure and
Yeah,
then
Towering
Airport,
Inferno.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Millennium, and
That's why Airplane came out, to make fun of all those movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Airplane kind of put those movies to bed.
They were like, fuck, can't make
Great
those
one.
anymore.
Yep. And yeah, it was. It is
Yeah.
entertaining.
It is. I could watch it all the time.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. We were, what, 11?
Oh yeah.
God, I went to go see it like 3 times.
Yeah,
Because it
absolutely.
was amazing.
I know.
Yeah, I remember in Little League. I still remember conversations because we were practicing Little League, and we were just talking because that trailer came out, and it was the most. Just seeing the wall of fire. We had never seen anything like that before in a movie, and we were playing catch or whatever, and everyone's like, "Oh, what would you do if you just saw a wall of fire moving towards you?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nothing. You
Yeah.
could go jump in a underpass, overpass, doorway,
Yeah.
because that's the only way you could make it.
Or the scene where Will Smith looks out. It's the great shot where it's like the classic in and out shot where he looks up from the newspaper and he sees the ship
Oh,
over
yes.
L.A.
Yeah,
Like,
and then he's
I had
like-
never seen anything like that before.
He's
Not
like-
practically.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Because I don't even think it was... was it a CGI shot or was it kind of like...
Maybe I know they used miniatures.
Yeah.
Because they used miniatures for the building explosions, the White House,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I'm sure there was
Yeah.
computer graphics because he had used computer graphics in Stargate,
Stargate.
and I mean it was fairly popular at the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of the day after tomorrow, though, what was the South Park where they made fun of that? What was the title? It was like the day before yesterday, or the day before
It was
tomorrow.
referencing. It was referencing today.
Yes.
Yeah.
The long way to say today.
It was so good.
Yeah. To make fun of that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
always
it was like
every
the-
time I see
the
that.
day
The
before
day
tomorrow.
before the day before tomorrow after next Thursday or something. Yeah. Good pick though.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
that's a good number 4. I thought about that
That-
movie. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't choose it not because of aliens, but because there wasn't a typical. I mean, yeah, you had the alien races villain
Yeah.
or whatever,
But not like one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get that.
It probably would have made my list if I didn't have that alien thing.
Yeah.
Stipulation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Jay, what's your number 4?
My number 4. My number 4 is GoldenEye.
Love it.
So,
Well, you're a big James Bond fan.
I love James Bond, and
I love James Bond.
obviously the 2 best Bond movies in the '90s is this one, and then the next one, which is Tomorrow Never Dies, which a lot of people. Tomorrow Never Dies. I rewatched that because my parents had gotten me all the Bond movies, and I forced Christy to watch
it all?
of them. And
Even Octopussy?
Jesus, getting through Roger Moore
Was it bad?
felt like a fucking marathon.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got to once we got to Timothy Dalton, I was like, oh my god, all right,
Yeah.
here we go. And then, but surprisingly, Tomorrow Never Dies, really good, and actually kind of holds up for now, or at least it's kind of on point for today because it has to do with media, fabricating news, and everything else. But the action set pieces on that are great. After that, I feel like it really starts going off the deep end with
Die Another Day.
Die Another Day, and then
The
you
World
have
Is
the
Not
one
Enough.
with,
Yeah.
With
Christmas.
what's her face
Yeah,
is
The
a
World's
nuclear.
Not Enough.
What's her face is the nuclear engineer.
Yeah, Christmas Jones coming twice a year. I don't know whatever they had. But
What's her
Is
name?
it one of the-
Shannon Elizabeth?
no, it's Charlie Sheen's.
Yeah, it's Denise Richards.
Denise Rich.
Yeah, coming fresh off Starship Troopers, she's the nuclear engineer. Pulled it
Yeah.
off well.
I could see it.
Yeah,
She looks like a smart broad.
yeah.
But GoldenEye, opening scene,
Great.
them going through the dam or the power facility, and then hopping on a motorcycle, going into the plane, and then pulling up in the last second.
Pretty sweet.
I mean,
Oh,
you
it's
have
so
the
good.
typical James Bond stuff in there. You have the tank and the car chase scene, and the perfect
Oh,
swell of
yes.
the music. Him just busting through the wall, fixes his tie.
That
and
was
then-
in Russia, right? That was in Moscow
Yeah,
or
yep.
something. Yeah.
And then you have the satellite
Yep.
whole scene at the end.
Oh.
The train sequence, you have them trapped in the... I mean, there's just a lot of nice little set pieces. It's
Yep.
a typical Bond movie, but directed very well. Martin Campbell, who also directed Casino Royale.
Yeah.
He
great.
revived... Because this was coming off of a 6 or 7 year hiatus of Timothy Dalton, because the last one he did was License to Kill.
Yeah.
And then MGM and Eon and everybody else had lawsuits that stalled production forever. But Martin Campbell was able to reinvigorate the franchise and get people excited about it again. But yeah,
Sean Bean's a great villain too.
he is.
He is.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's just a good actor.
Right.
I like Famke Janssen. She's like probably my favorite femme fatale.
Was she the Russian?
Yeah, she's the Russian like who kills people with her thighs.
Yep.
Her sexy thighs.
Yep. My wife is probably
Strangles
going to
him.
listen to this, but oh yeah, she was one of my crushes back.
Oh,
in the day.
man.
Oh yeah. Her accent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, that horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. But,
I know. You know, back in what was that? That was 95, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
well, I think the movie it sticks out too because I'm sure we're all big fans of the game on 64.
oh gosh.
So you play the game and you watch the movie and you feel like, oh yeah, it's the game, you know.
Which is coming out for the Switch.
Oh,
no
is it really?
fucking way. Are you
Yep.
serious?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
You have to get the Nintendo Online expansion pass.
I would play that.
Oh, I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Coming this winter.
Please sponsor us, Nintendo.
How many fights did you get in with your friends playing that game?
Oh, I got in plenty of fights with you.
Yeah.
Stop looking at my screen.
Don't look at my screen, Murph. How'd you know I was around the corner waiting? We actually taped a bed sheet.
Yeah.
You remember that? I don't know
Yeah.
if that was you or not, but we taped a bed sheet so you couldn't see the screen.
Yeah.
That's how crazy we were with this game.
Yeah.
You remember the golden gun?
Oh yeah.
One shot, boom.
Boom.
That was the only time I was able to win.
Yeah.
when you had the golden gun.
Yeah, because other than that, it was I was just never good at first person, like Halo and all those games. I was never really good at.
Yeah.
Racing games was more my thing.
That was your jam.
Oh,
Yeah,
I loved the first person shooters. You get me a sniper rifle in that game.
Oh,
and
it's
I was,
over with.
I was trouble. It was trouble. The game was awesome though.
Yeah.
That was like the first 64 game that was really badass that
Yeah.
I remember. You know, like Mario 64 was great, but GoldenEye, who didn't have that game?
I think
I think everyone did.
Yeah.
I actually played the game before I watched GoldenEye. So when I watched GoldenEye, it like amplified my
Kinda makes
enjoyment of
sense,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I actually went and saw that with my brother. Cause
Yeah.
And then the game, obviously.
No, that's a good pick. That almost made my top 5. It was very close.
Yeah, it was. I initially had Tombstone as number 4 and then GoldenEye as number 5, but what won out was the tank car chase scene because they did that for real. I mean, it was just they had more action, like larger scale action set pieces than what Tombstone did. Both are I could watch as many times. Tombstone's more quotable. I think Tombstone has better characters.
Yeah.
But GoldenEye is just, I mean, it's just a
Solid movie.
solid movie.
Pierce Brosnan's a very good Bond.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he's good.
He is. When they first reveal Sean Beam was his name Janice, I think.
Yeah.
Yanis.
Yanis.
Or something.
Yanis.
Yanis, yeah.
Yeah.
When they first reveal him in like what were they in, like a Soviet graveyard with all the statues or
Oh,
something.
yeah, yeah,
You remember
yeah.
that? And he walks out from the shadow and you see his scar.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh damn.
Yeah. At the time when you're like,
He didn't die.
yeah, when you're 12, you're like, wow, the plot thickens. Didn't see that coming.
And it's like all that happened because he set the wrong timer. Like, wait a minute, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Weren't you always against him? Because like,
Yeah.
I know. Like you didn't give me 10 extra seconds.
Yeah.
Or something.
And so he gets captured, and then he's like, "All right, fine, I'll change sides." he fucked up on the timer. I couldn't have not miscounted in my head. I'm just gonna assume the worst. I'll go with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't Alan Cumming in that too?
Yep.
He has like
Boris.
the thickest
Is he the
Russian accent.
Is he the general?
No,
he
he's
is
the nerd, right?
The nerd that clicks the
Oh yes.
"I am invincible."
Yeah.
And then he gets frozen at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone got frozen in the
Forgot about
90s.
that. Yeah.
You had
yeah.
the T-1000, you had the Demolition Man, and then you had
It was the cool way to kill people back then.
yeah.
I am invincible. This thick ass Russian accent.
I open very large doors. Oh wait, I sit right in front of you and open very large doors.
Right.
Yeah.
Password knockers.
Yeah.
I sit on it, but you can't take it with you.
Chair.
This is an easy one.
All right, Matt. Number 4.
My number 4, I had to put a martial arts movie in here because there's a lot of good ones. Mm-hmm. But I settled on Rumble in the Bronx.
Really? You could have put in the Matrix.
I could.
A lot of kung fu in that.
There is a lot of kung fu in that one.
I think he knows kung fu in that movie.
He does. Such great. But we're here to talk about Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Rumble in the Bronx? Either of you?
I have not. I've never seen it.
I have not. As much of a kung fu fan,
Wow.
I missed the whole 90s.
Really?
It was because the karate movies that I enjoy were like the Van Damme,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I really didn't get into kung fu until the 2000s, and at that point, then I started watching older kung fu movies, like from the 80s, like Shaw Brothers, just like some of that sped up camera shit and wire, all that stuff. So, but a lot of the Jackie Chan 90s stuff I've seen. I think Drunken Master, that I think it was like the 80s or 70s.
70s, I think.
70s.
Yeah.
But other than Rush Hour, because he had Rumble in the Bronx, then he had
Super Cop.
Super Cop with Cop Story.
Yeah, Police Story 3.
Police Story 3. And but yeah, those I couldn't watch because they were dubbed. So that's every time I see them, I could probably buy the physical version and get it subtitled, but I remember watching, it was on HBO one time, the Rumble in the Bronx, and they were riding in the car from the airport, and it was subtitled, and then the uncle's like, how's your English?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my English is good. And then they're just dubbed for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't do it.
I know,
And then
I know.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Well, the first time I saw, the reason why I did pick it is because it's so good that I can get past the dubbing, because the action scenes are just phenomenal. It's amazing. I can watch it right now just because they did everything, practically everything. There's actually a scene where he jumps from the shore onto a moving boat, and he broke his ankle doing that, and they kept it in the film.
Oh,
so when he's like in the movie, he like jumps like 35 feet, and he snaps his ankle. You can see him fall, and then like it cuts real quick, and he's like running away. But
it's Jackie Chan, right?
it's Jackie Chan. Does everything.
He did all his own stunts, right?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I've heard Quentin Tarantino say that Police Story 3 is the best action movie ever made, but I've never seen it. So I've only seen Rumble in the Bronx. And that alone the story's stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not. I mean, the story's okay, but it doesn't matter.
The story's not the strong suit for Chinese films.
The action scenes are just a cut above everything, even on this list. Just because everything's choreographed, it's all practice. It's nuts. It's crazy. Just like the motorcycle chase scene in it. Like he's jumping from motorcycle to motorcycle and car to. It's fucking nuts. And then there's a boat chase scene too. He's jumping from boat to boat. Like choreographed fighting on these boats. It's fucking crazy. But the dubbing, it's so weird because everyone has a different voice in it. Even like people speaking English, like they're speaking English and it's not their voice. It's some other character actor doing the dubbing, but like their mouth is moving English. It's so strange. And even Jackie Chan does his own dubbing.
Really?
Jackie Chan's doing his own dubbing, and he's speaking English sometime in unison, and then other times he's speaking Mandarin. But it's him dubbing it. The whole purpose of dubbing is so that the audience understands what you're saying because you can speak English.
Yeah.
He can't really speak English that well, and he's still doing the dubbing in it. It's very weird.
There's a reason why it's a thing in Asian cinema, and I wish I looked it up so I could remember it properly. But they did the same thing with Bruce Lee movies. I think it had to do, because Golden Harvest did it with a lot of the older Bruce Lee movies, and the reason they did it is because I think their film stock was not as good as what Hollywood had. So they had trouble syncing audio or whatever. They recorded at different rates, and it just didn't quite match up. So you would actually, that's the reason why they have English-speaking people still being dubbed over because of whatever shoddy audio quality that they ended up getting. Either something, there was too much noise or whatever. But it was and that's why it became almost like a kind of a parody of itself, is that everything was always dubbed. Yeah, part of it was the language barrier, but I think the other part was the way they made movies. They almost had to dub it because of the amount of background noise or whatever was going on.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah. You can tell it's slightly off. Like you could tell they did the dubbing in like a day. Like, they don't care about it. It doesn't matter.
Just get it in there.
Just get it in there. It doesn't matter.
They're seeing this to watch this guy kick some ass.
Yeah. They don't give a shit about this. But even like the henchmen in it that where they're dubbing them over, like they don't match the person. Like the big dudes have like slightly higher voices, and it's like that's not coming out of that guy. There's no way. But yeah, I mean, it's on my list because it's probably my favorite martial arts action movie. No, I'm not gonna say ever made, but just because I don't have The Matrix on my list, this is my favorite one. It's just the action's great. Okay, I'd recommend it.
I'll have to watch
You'll
it.
enjoy it.
I'll have to watch it.
You gotta get past the dubbing, but
I'll just put it
it's
on
great.
mute.
You can't do that.
All right. Number 4,
Yeah.
Rumble in the Bronx. Number
Rumble in the
3.
Bronx.
3. All right. Go late 90s here. 98.
98.
About World War II.
Saving Private Ryan?
Saving Private Ryan. Great action. Historical. Accuracy, I think, was actually pretty good for a movie. I mean, yeah, it was not like some of the other, what's the term, like Hollywoodized movies, but really good actors. I mean, Tom Hanks, you can't go wrong. Matt Damon, can't go wrong. Although he wasn't in it that much, but
No.
he was good. I don't know a lot of the other actors' names. Tom Sizemore.
Tom
Vin
Sizemore.
Diesel. Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Yeah, he died really well.
Reminded me of my niece, sir.
The Jewish guy. I
love
forget
Barry,
his name.
I love Barry Pepper.
Is that him?
No, he's the sniper.
The sniper. Yeah.
Sniper, yeah.
Barry Pepper's great.
Adam Goldberg?
Yes.
Is that his name?
I think he was the
Adam
The
Goldberg.
Jewish guy. Yulden.
Yeah.
Yulden. Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying.
And I think Jeremy, the guy who plays the guy who's scared all the time.
medic?
The medic who's scared.
Yeah. What's his name? He's in Fast and the Furious.
Is he?
Yeah. He's I think.
Jeremy Davies is his name.
Yeah. Well, he's in Gone with 60 Seconds. He's the brother who gets in trouble.
Oh no, that's Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
No, I think he's the medic.
Well, no, I'm not thinking of him. Then I'm thinking of like the scaredy
translator.
cat. The scaredy cat.
Yeah,
guy.
the translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
shoot the
Okay. I
German
don't know.
soldier.
I don't remember his name. Yeah.
Jeremy Davies, I think his name is.
But yeah, great flick. Lot of good action. Like that opening scene.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I forget if it's Omaha or Utah, whatever beach
think it's
it was.
Omaha.
I mean, that's like the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And that was right. No, it wasn't right around the time. Shortly before, in high school, you remember Mr. Hill's class when they brought in that veteran?
Oh,
and
yeah,
he talked about, he had a vial of sand from the beach, and I was like, damn.
I know.
But that scene was classic. I mean, I don't know, like, I was trying to remember back, like, I don't think it was action-packed, but there were a lot of great scenes.
Yeah, there's good tension scenes.
Yes.
I mean, you had the issue with the sniper. You had.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
You remember when the wall
storming the
collapsed,
beach?
and then there's like all these Germans and all these Americans, and they're
Yeah.
all like, "Put your gun down!"
Yeah.
and then they just completely destroy.
Well,
them.
I think that scene's 30 minutes long. The Omaha Beach scene.
Oh yeah,
it's like
super long.
It's 30 minutes.
Right.
And then it's bookended with that awesome
Yeah.
bridge fight scene. That's like another 30 minutes.
And then you see the guy walking around without his arm, picking up his arm,
Yeah.
and you got to like. Obviously, we've never been on a battlefield, but it's like I could see that happening. Like you're just so traumatized, you're like, I need to get my arm.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, my dad's dad, he was in both. My grandfathers were in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
One was a navigator for a bomber, and the other one was on the ground in the Philippines. And my dad's dad was on the ground in the Philippines. And when that movie came out, that was one of the few times I think he talked about his time in the Army.
Yeah.
Was when he was referencing that movie, and he's like, that's spot on.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the most realistic I've seen in a movie.
It is.
He's like, it was like they did a great job with that.
Right. And I mean, you just feel for like the story too. Like they got to save this last brother, poor mom lost 3 other brothers. And I love the ending scene when Tom's dying and he's like, earn it. You're like, damn, that goes deep. you know?
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Matt Damon being older. He starts crying. He's like, am I a good person? And you're like, fuck.
It'd be funny if his wife or daughter was like,
Nah.
Man,
Sometimes. I mean, you're kind of a dick.
are you gonna leave me the house?
But yeah, I like that one a lot.
No, it definitely set the precedent for you'd never seen anything like that, like realistically. I mean, maybe Schindler's List, but it wasn't war. It was more just the
Schindler's was
effects
more
of war.
story, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
The effects of war, not actually like war scenes.
Yep.
Like that, at least.
I haven't seen it.
That graphic. Yeah, sure. Never seen it. You never seen? Oh yeah, Schindler's List.
Yeah, I've never seen Schindler's
I thought you
List.
maybe had seen.
See, I'm
Saving
just
Private
not
Ryan.
going to see it just because.
No.
I get so many people asking me from listening. They're like, I can't believe you've never seen. Like my cousin called me up. He's like, you've never seen Schindler's List, and I'm like, no.
You're like, I don't want to, consider killing myself.
Yeah,
because I'm
I was
so
like,
sad.
Is it an upbeat movie? When should I watch it? When I'm super happy so I can get depressed, or should I watch it when I'm sad so I want to blow my brains out?
Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely one of those movies you can't just. You have to like be prepared to watch something like that. It's very sad.
Schindler's List?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
But Saving Private Ryan, I could probably watch whenever.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of...
don't have to be in a mood to watch that.
No, there's a lot of
pretty
good scenes, too. Like when the medic dies, you're like, damn.
Yeah, I know.
I think he said, he's like, I want to go home or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been said. I don't know how many times.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what's the other scene? I can't remember the other one I was thinking of, but or no, when like you kind of forget about war when like Tom Hanks is like, yeah, it's an English teacher back home, and you're like, damn, you over here doing this and you just teaching people, prepositions back in the States, like it's, yeah. I know that probably happens in a lot of war movies, but I don't know. I thought they did a good job like showing that these people were just normal humans before, and then this hell broke out. So
I love Tom Sizemore in it though.
oh, he's great. I heard he was like high the whole movie.
It wouldn't surprise me. He had a
I
bit
read
of a drug
something.
problem,
yeah, that he was not in a good shape while they
Yeah.
were filming that.
I'm gonna shoot you because I just don't like you. You don't know how to shut up.
I've only seen this I think twice,
Oh yeah.
and because I thought of it as far as making the list, because it does have the best war scenes.
Yeah.
I think shot. But I didn't put it on my list because I actually enjoy Band of Brothers.
Oh, so good.
Like I've rewatched that so many times.
Band of Brothers is better.
But kudos to this movie, because without this movie being a hit, Band of Brothers I don't think would have existed, because Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg then just
They
made
produced
this,
it, right?
They produced that, and then they did the Pacific.
Yeah.
That's another good one.
They had a little.
Didn't like the Pacific as much, but
it wasn't as good as
I like the Band of Brothers. Yeah. And when did Band of Brothers come out?
That was 2002.
Was it later? Yeah.
2001-ish, 2-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the best miniseries.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's up
so
there.
good.
Kind of want to watch it now.
I know.
It's very good. Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah, good pick. All right, my number 3, later in the 90s, is yours. 1 year after, 1999.
What is this, The Matrix?
Matrix?
No.
Oh, sorry.
American Beauty.
Oh.
No.
It's like, what is this?
Shakespeare in...
Yeah.
The Mummy.
Oh.
So, I picked this one. The reason why, I mean, again, 3 through 5 could have been switched anyways. The Mummy, I could probably... It's the most fun.
It's very fun.
It rivals Tombstone in the amount of fun, but it's more fun than Tombstone.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You have fun gun shootouts. You got with the undead, so you got just an exorbitant amount of bullets going at monsters, so you don't have to worry about human life. You have an aerial battle in an airplane with the Sand Mummy, which kind of looks dated now or whatever, but you had some of those scenes, the effects with the Mummy.
Yeah. At the time, that was pretty.
Yeah, it was
pretty
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Right.
And but overall, you have the. I mean, it's just it feels like a generic action adventure movie, but I feel like this was the precursor to the National Treasure movies.
Yeah.
It was kind of taking a little bit from Indiana Jones, and because you have the swashbuckling hero, you got funny sidekicks, and you have Rachel Weisz.
Vice.
And but yeah, it's just a good adventure story, treasure hunt story. Brendan Fraser's awesome in it.
He is.
That was prime Frasier.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
prime Fraser, which he's getting a resurgence now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see The Whale.
Yeah.
He's a good
kinda
dude.
wanna see that.
He's a good dude.
I like Darren Aronofsky. He has a knack for reviving careers. Have you ever seen The Wrestler?
No.
Oh,
If it's as good as The Wrestler, I'm sure it's going to be pretty good.
I've heard The Wrestler's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Mummy Part 2 was still good. But,
It was.
I mean, the Mummy is. So
It's
good.
fun.
Yeah.
It's just
You
fun.
can you can watch it anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime it's on.
Yeah. It's funny.
Like watching him, suck those guys dry
Yeah.
and then get his form back.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
Hemotep. Hey, who's the guy who plays Rachel Weisz's brother? What's his name? He was in Spartacus. Have you ever seen
Yeah,
Spartacus?
he was. Yep.
He was like,
I forget his name.
because it was different from his role in The Mummy. He actually played like a
He was a douche.
bad dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
not a good person.
no.
I forget
What's
his name.
John Hannah.
Yeah,
John.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He's funny.
Oh, he's funny. in
Oh,
that
he's real
movie.
good in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's,
good in
super
it.
good.
The guy who plays Benny.
Benny, he's fantastic.
He's in all of Steven Sommers' movies.
Yeah.
He always has a bit role in him.
Mm-hmm.
How did Benny die in the movie? Does he get eaten by the bugs?
I think he gets trapped in whatever pyramid or whatever tomb that they're
Oh,
in.
the gold,
Yeah,
right?
because
All the gold.
he's trying to get the gold,
Yeah.
and then he stalls too long, and
And then I think those the swarm
Yeah.
of bugs get him. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
it's like, goodbye, Benny.
Right. Goodbye, Benny.
yeah. Looks like we have all the horses. Looks like you're on the, other
wrong
side of the river. Yeah, it's fun. It's good. That's a good pick.
Who's the actor who plays like the Guardians of the Desert too? He was the.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's in Douche Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Yes,
he plays
yeah.
the.
He was like
head
the-
gigolo.
Deuce.
Deuce.
Yeah, I think it's Deuce.
Did I say douche?
You said douche.
Douche
Yeah.
Bigelow.
I should have called it Douche
Odin
Bigelow.
Fair.
That's the porno version. Douche. Bigelow.
Yeah, yeah.
Played Ardith Bay.
Yeah. I thought he was good in that movie. He's like this cool customer. He's like, you guys have awoken the mummy. Mm-hmm. You just doomed the earth. Unless, I don't even. How did they even kill them? Oh,
I like how their sole existence is to protect that secret, and they fucked it up.
I know they didn't even try. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, oh, let's attack him in the middle of the night one time.
Yeah, like, oh, you guys awoken the mummy. Where the fuck were you? Like, oh, our entire race of people has been brought up to protect the secret. Like, then why weren't you just chilling in there waiting?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey,
Right.
go away.
Yeah. Or just shoot them.
Yeah,
Boom, boom.
yeah, that'd be easy.
No one knows.
What was the mummy's woman? Anaxunamun.
Anaxunamun, yeah.
Knock
Yeah.
someone.
There's a lot of that. They say
You had
Anaxunamun a lot.
Emotep,
Yep,
Emotep.
Emotep.
which I always think of Egyptian. Oh, God, the
What?
Phantom. He was in Titanic.
Oh,
God,
Billy Zane?
Yeah,
Billy
Billy
Zane,
Zane.
yeah.
Egyptian
Yeah.
Billy Zane.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
He does look like a
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I thought
shave
it was
the head.
Billy Zane
yeah.
for like the first half of the movie. The first time I watched it, I was like, he's in Back to the Future. And I was like, well, darker complected, whatever.
Anytime you can bring Back to the Future into the conversation, Jay's just happy.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's a good pick. I like that pick.
It's fun.
Didn't Tom Cruise remake that movie, or was that a different?
I
mummy?
haven't seen it. It's a
Yeah.
Is it a different story?
mummy.
Yeah, it's a different
Okay.
story. So technically the same property, which, because I think a lot of people were hoping that it was going to be, a reboot, but also kind of a sequel, like a present day version
Yeah.
of that.
They were trying to do the Universal was trying to do the MonsterVerse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they casted Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man, and then Russell Crowe was supposed to be Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Because I think at the end of The Mummy, there's an end credit scene where Russell Crowe turns into like Mr. Jekyll.
Oh God.
And I think Angelina Jolie is like an insufferable woman or something. I don't know what the fuck she played, but just someone
Yeah.
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Definitely
You
not.
can tell he likes.
Yeah. He likes her. I know.
Definitely not the best actor in that family.
No.
John Voight. would
John
take
Voight's
that.
much better.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. No, that I like that pick. The Mummy's a good one. And it got better with age as they
Yeah.
made more movies, right? Scorpion King, so good.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best computer.
The CGI.
Actually, no, that was the
That was
second
Mummy
one.
Returns.
The Mummy Returns
Oh, it's
had the best CGI.
The CGI of Dwayne Johnson as Scorpion King was
pretty rough.
There's no uncanny valley in
Superb.
those eyes.
No. A little rough.
But no, the first one was awesome. Mm-hmm. What was the second one about? I'm trying to remember.
They had to.
That was Return of the Mummy, right?
The Mummy Returns.
Mummy Returns.
Yeah.
It was Rachel Weisz's character.
Oh yeah, he tries to turn.
No,
that was the
keeps
first one.
having experiences in her previous life. And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have a son, I think, at this point. So
That's right.
It was fine. It wasn't as good as the first one,
Yeah.
but
Because the first one, he tried to turn Rachel into a Noxuna, right? Like that was.
he tried to reincarnate her
Right.
into her body.
And
Yeah.
then I remember that now.
Yep. There's a blimp in that one. Remember the blimp?
Yeah, because they were trying to rehash some of the story beats from the previous one, but instead of sand, it was a water
wall thingy.
It's different.
There's zombie monkey. There's zombie monkeys in it. Remember the zombie monkeys?
I do.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. That was your number 3?
That was my number 3.
All right. My number 3 is Cliffhanger.
It's a good one.
I love
like
it. I mean, where to start? It's probably my favorite Sylvester Stallone action movie. I love John Lithgow as a villain. He's the best. He could play a villain any day. I'd watch it. I like the characters in it. I think the characters are just so over the top that it's great. I can't remember the actors. I know Leon plays one of the henchmen, and there's like an Irish dude who references soccer way too much. And then there's
Leon from The Professional?
No.
Leon.
His name's Leon. That's the
okay.
actor's name. I can't remember his character name.
Kynet.
Yeah.
Kynet.
And then the FBI guy who is double crossing everybody. He's just so over the top.
Oh, Rex.
Like, shut your fucking mouth. The whole
up,
movie.
Travers.
Yeah, the whole movie. He's so loud. But it's got one of the best opening scenes ever.
Yeah.
Hands down.
This is when he loses his girlfriend or something?
Not his girlfriend, his friend's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Michael
Yeah.
Rooker's.
You can
Michael
see
Rooker, yeah.
You see the belt buckle break, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a great scene to set the story. I mean, because after that, you don't need to understand motivations anymore. It just sets it up perfectly. I mean, the climbing in it is. I know they shot that for real. Like there was no CGI in it. Actually, I think Sylvester Stallone got frostbite in his index finger.
Oh dang.
Filming the movie. It's just awesome. It's a cool heist caper movie with awesome one-liners. The action's amazing. You get Sylvester Stallone jumping away from an explosion. It's in his contract every time. I mean, he impales a guy on an icicle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty fucking cool.
It's a good, unique setting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have. Do you ever see The Eiger Sanction?
No.
So that's a Clint Eastwood movie, probably 60s or 70s, but and I mean that's like one of those mountain climbing movies to where it mainly takes place on a mountain.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you don't get a lot of movies like that. Though.
No.
Just that remote setting.
Yep.
And part of it's just the difficulty of filming, but yeah, the fact that they filmed, they could have easily, if they made this today, it would be in a studio.
Yeah.
And it'd be 72 degrees in there, and
Yep.
just want to
They
have
have
that feel.
They had Sylvester Stallone shoot a gun underwater. That's always a good thing. I love when guns go off underwater.
Because they do.
Because they do. That's how it works.
I don't think that would work.
No. It's such a simple setup too. I mean, there's bags of cash scattered about, and they're going to find the bags of cash. Mm-hmm. And then Sylvester Stallone tries to fuck him over, and it's great.
Don't they try to make... No, they make his friend try to help him find it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Merle from Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker, yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's going to help him out. He doesn't want the John Lithgow to get the... They try to make it seem like, is he going to be with Sylvester Stallone, or do you still hold a grudge for him, killing his...
Right.
Accidentally killing his girlfriend, but I have some great clips here that we're going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker and Walker, we're missing 3 bags.
What's in them?
None of your fucking business!
Suits, socks, $100 million, the usual stuff.
Amazes me in this day and age when a man will put money before the personal safety of himself and his bitch.
You want to kill me, don't you, Tucker? I'll take a number and get in line.
Costs a fortune to heat this place.
Dun dun dun.
Your friend just had the most expensive funeral in history. Travers, you've lost your mind.
Lost. Have I lost it? Fucking A, I lost it, Coiler. Pure fucking Section 8.
Make somebody a fine wife someday.
You should see me bake a cake.
Season's over, asshole!
Kill a few people, they call you a murderer. Kill a million, and you're a conqueror. Go figure.
I must admit you're a real piece of work.
Yeah, and I must admit you're a real piece of shit.
That's it.
That's so good.
You're a conqueror. Yeah, what kind of accent was he doing?
Go figure.
I don't know.
Who's the actress in that?
I don't know what her name is.
She was also in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was.
She was Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Side
lady.
piece.
Yeah,
Oh.
Carolyn Goodall.
She's kind of a badass in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but I mean, it's great. You get the action. You get those awesome one-liners. Season's over, asshole. Come on. He was he was kicking the shit out of him, acting like he was in a soccer game. It's such a funny scene. But it's awesome. I love it.
Cool.
Number 3.
That was your number.
Well done.
That was your
Thank you.
number 3. Yeah. All right, Jason.
You're number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Your deuce.
Okay. Earliest one in the 90s. 91.
Ooh, I already know it.
I already know it too, and you're fucking wrong.
Bum, 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 bum. You know it, Jeff.
Yeah, I know it.
It's so good.
You're wrong.
Terminator.
Wrong number.
2.
Wrong number.
Judgment Day.
Wrong number.
It is also my number 2.
Let me tell you why it's
Oh.
so good.
It's also my number 2.
So that's my number 1.
Ah.
So yeah.
Okay, I feel you now. I feel you.
I struggled between this and my number 1, so
Yeah. No.
Both of you are wrong. It's number 1. So we'll go to number 1, I guess,
Okay.
first, and then.
Yep. Yeah, Terminator 2. So good. Another one I saw with my mom. And maybe my brother, I forget.
your
but
mom took you to go see this?
I'm pretty sure.
In theaters.
Mom of the year.
I think. Was it
awesome.
R?
Oh,
yeah,
God,
it was
yeah.
R.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So I don't know if she could have taken me. Maybe she didn't. I feel like I watched this in the theaters. I could be remembering incorrectly though.
Maybe she took you because she wanted to see it so bad, and she was like, "He's gonna go see it with me."
Possibly.
gonna
Can you
happen.
take a kid into
You
it?
can if
Yeah,
your parents
yeah,
are there.
yeah.
Okay. She probably.
Oh, I've been to rated R movies with
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, she's a badass woman. She probably did. So, but yeah, great Arnold, doing his thing as the old Terminator. T-1000.
Did you like the first one?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the first one. I liked the second one better. I think just because it seemed newer. Like the first Terminator, it's got that 80s vibe.
Yeah,
of a
It's
movie.
very low budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very grainy, and
Yes.
it's more of a horror film.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
than
not
it
really
is.
an action movie.
I thought Arnold was great in it. I loved Kyle Reese, whoever that actor is. He was in Tombstone.
Michael
Johnny
Biehn.
Ringo.
Michael Biehn.
Yep. So I did like the first one, but loved the second one. The story was great. They've redone it so many times now that it's kind of annoying. But he came back because there's a bigger, badder Terminator that's coming to get John Connor is great. Some of the scenes, like the motorcycle chase with the dirt bike and the semi truck with T-1000 was great.
Yeah, in the river of L.A.
Yes, I know
LA
the
river.
dried up river.
Yeah.
When when he first sees T-1000 coming towards John, and he's got the roses, and then he just whips out the shotgun and the roses fall down. I think they do that in slow motion too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fantastic. And then the action scene, like when they go to, is it Cyberdyne?
Yep.
Yeah, and then that one guy, he's like,
I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
Ding! Boom! Yeah.
It is very prolonged, for sure.
Yeah, there's just so many good scenes in it. And yeah, that's another one, man. That's tough at the end. He's like, I must go in the lava. Like, I forget the exact words, but, you know, he's like, I gotta kill myself.
I understand now why you cry, but it's something I can never do.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, I've had to kill this chip. Yeah, I
And
thought...
then he gives him the thumbs up. So
Yep.
there's a little emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little emotion there.
A little. He understands a little bit, yeah. But I thought... I forget the... It's not Patrick... No, that's definitely not Patrick Stewart.
No.
Patrick... What's his name? T-1000.
Oh.
X-Files guy.
What? X-Files guy?
He was in the X-Files.
Yeah, he was the boss in the
Yeah.
X-Files.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was in the X-Files after David Duchovny left.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick.
That's right.
Yes. He was great.
He's every alcoholic dad
Yes.
in every movie.
Yes.
He's in the new Peacemaker. He's really good in that.
They're making another Peacemaker?
The Peacemaker show with John Cena.
Oh.
Plays the Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah, he's the dad.
Not
That's
the
right.
George Clooney 1996 vehicle.
No. Definitely not that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's two for me. I thought that's another one. It's totally... It's the most rewatchable Terminator, in my opinion. You can throw it on, and I mean, yeah.
It's a revolutionary movie.
It
for
is.
sure.
Absolutely. It's my number one because you have the opening shot during Sarah Connor's narration, and you see the widespread future war, and it starts off on the skull, gets collapsed by a walking T-800.
Yep.
And then the camera pans back, and you just see this massive future war happening. And that is probably the most unremarkable thing in that movie. And the fact that he starts it off with that, it looks amazing, but that's, I mean, yeah, the skull being crushed is memorable, but everything else in that is just kind of like, yeah, it's future war kind of a thing. But everything else, the fact that that scene is dwarfed by the rest of the movie is awesome. You touched on the mall shootout and following the motorcycle chase with the semi-truck. The Minstow, I mean, it has every different kind of action scene you could think of, to where you have the chase scene from the mall, you have a mental institution escape tension, and Sarah Connor trying to bust out of that the same time that the T-1000 is just kind of slowly going through to find her. Blowing up Cyberdyne, which they actually did they blew up a building.
Really?
And then you have the chase. Yes, they set up like 15 cameras to capture that.
Make sure they got it,
And then they have the chase from Cyberdyne. Starts off with, I think it was like that SWAT van or the SWAT truck versus a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually flew a helicopter under the bridge.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was real. They had the amount of computer effects in this movie, I think, was minimal. I mean, because I think
it's probably just T-1000. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was Industrial Light. I think it was a combined like 3 minutes of footage.
Yeah.
That was computer animated. Everything else was practical or Stan Winston makeup effects.
Right.
And everything else. But then you have the action set piece in the steel mill with the Terminators going one-on-one. But also, I mean, the story isn't mindless. It's smartly written to where it makes sense. It fits with the sequel. They did a good job of expanding Sarah Connor's character to where she wasn't either exactly the same again, like, what do I do? She has more of an in-charge role, which James Cameron does really well writing female characters. And
she wasn't a damsel in distress in this one.
Yeah, wasn't a damsel in distress. She was in her next phase of character.
Yeah, doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
Doing pull-ups.
And
she was jacked, too.
Oh, she was jacked.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Doing one-arm pull-ups.
But the overall movie also is, I always think of it as like, it's a boy and his dog movie.
Yeah.
And they do a really good shot of, or really good job of establishing that relationship, so that way when the Terminator does go into the lava, or not lava, but the molten steel, you feel for John Connor and you're able to relate with him and his relationship with the Terminator.
Yeah.
The thumbs up, I like how you knew what it was referencing because it was just a throwaway shot when Sarah Connor was narrating, and you just saw a silent interaction between John and
He was
Terminator.
teaching him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was teaching him how to give high fives or whatever, and then like you see him trying to do the thumbs up, to where it wasn't like blatantly, oh, pay attention to the thumbs up. This will be something that gets called back. He respected the audience's intelligence to where they're going to understand where that came from.
Wait, what?
Right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Filmmaker respecting intelligence.
I know they don't hit you.
They
over
don't
the
do
head
that
with it.
anymore, do they?
But
They have to explain everything to you.
I think it's by far James Cameron's best movie. I mean,
I don't know enough James Cameron movies to.
Well, he's made 5.
Titanic, Avatar, True Lies, The Abyss, Aliens, Piranha, which was like his first one.
Yeah.
Piranha 3, like 2, I think,
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that. And then this.
I would agree with you then. I
So-
like it. Like I like Avatar. I do like Titanic. It's actually good. But yeah, this one's by far the best in my opinion. And I do like how they turned the Terminator from the first movie, you know, because Arnold was great in the first one being a badass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring him into this one, and they, you know, right off the bat when he time travels here, and then he meets that biker guy who tries to, you know, he puts the cigar in his chest, and he's like, you know, grabs this thing. Yeah, you're like, oh shit, yeah, John's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then T-1000 comes, and it's this little Robert Patrick guy, but then he turns out to be, you know, unstoppable essentially.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a good job setting that up, where you almost feel like, yeah, we'll be all right. And then T-1000 is just, you know, they froze him. They tried to freeze him,
They started the freezing
and he
with the
came
liquid
back.
nitrogen.
He came back together.
He did. He
Yeah.
came right back together. That was a pretty cool scene.
It was.
I didn't watch the first Terminator
Before this one?
Before this one, because I remember the first time I saw this, I was at my grandparents in Florida's house. My parents had actually rented it, and it was my parents, my brother, and my grandparents, and I think my aunt and uncle were there. I'm not sure, but this was 92, so I was about 9, and my dad had wanted to see it. We rented it. I was inconsolable at the end.
Oh,
I was
really?
bawling my eyes out because I didn't understand why he had to kill himself or whatever.
Okay.
And my dad will still bring that up.
Oh, yeah?
To where he's like, because my dad will always make the joke, it's the greatest movie ever made, which I don't share that. I do think it is one of the best action movies of all time.
Yeah,
Not just of the
fair.
90s, because I don't feel like that action was topped until probably Raid 2. And even then, I feel like that movie just wasn't able to match for scale. Bad Boys Part 2 is almost there, but I mean, it falls short of character and story. But yeah, Terminator 2, I think.
The action feels like it shouldn't have been filmed in 1991.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely ahead
It
of
really
its time.
doesn't. No.
And the fact, because I can't, I mean, in my opinion, there is no action movie that has come close, except maybe Raid 2, or some of the John Wick ones are pretty good, but it's like just to have everything, like a good story, great acting, memorable characters, suspense, like different setting, like it feels like such a complete movie that other action movies haven't been able to mimic. They usually fall short in something, to where now it's just, yeah, you have Marvel movies, or you have the Transformer movies, which are these massive spectacle action set piece movies, but it's all computer animated.
Yeah.
And the art of making something like that, having it look real, looking like something that should not have been able to be filmed, and the fact that they did it practically, still made it engaging, and the fact that it still holds up today. I mean, it's over 30 years old now.
I know.
And
I think it's
feel
the only thing that comes to mind is like a Christopher Nolan, like Inception, in terms of scale and action pieces. But that feels like something that could be filmed. It doesn't feel like ahead of its time. It's just very well done.
Yeah.
This feels like if they even made it today, it would still be impressive because it's just. I mean, everything's practical. It's great. It's that like like the 3 minutes where like the T-1000 is morphing his hand or
right,
whatever the case may be.
Yeah, all the computer effects that they use are for small moments to just kind of complete that movie.
Yeah. So this is a good. This is a good story. My first image of this movie, I was 91. So what was I? 6 years old, and my sister Jenny rented it, and my brother Jeff. They watched it. They let me watch it. The very first thing I remember was, the scene where T-1000 is Edward Furlong's or John Connor's mom, stepmom, and he kills
the knife knife hand,
and then
Boom.
it pans out, and then like he's impaled, and then my mom walks in. She's like, "What are you watching?" She's like, "Matt, get out of here!" She kicked me out, and I had to wait like another couple of years before I could see the whole thing. But yeah. That's a pretty gnarly image for like a 6-year-old to look at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I know. Now that we talk about the movie more and more, I'm like, there's no way my mom took it.
It's pretty.
I was only 6. Shit.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I wish watching it. I wish I experienced, because everyone talked about how, like when they talk about like, and it's a twist because the Terminator isn't, like the T-800 isn't bad in this one. He's a good guy, and I'm like, was that a twist? Like I feel like that was given away in the trailer.
Yeah.
But one of the experiences I wish I could have had was being knowledgeable of the first Terminator.
Yeah.
Then going straight into this movie without knowing anything. And I feel like that twist probably would have paid off a lot harder, especially when he pulls the gun out of the roses, aims at John Connor and says, "Get down."
Right.
And
then he ends up, because the first one does play into it pretty well. And I love the end scene where Terminator, doesn't he come up that belt?
Yeah.
And then he's like, pops him with the thing.
Yeah, the grenade launcher.
And that was right after Sarah Connor's got the shotgun. She's like, boom, boom. And then one more shot, and he's in the molten steel. But click.
Little trivia: the security guard that comes up from the floor and sticks a needle in his eye when they're in the mental hospital, they're actually twins. And you can see those twins in Good Morning Vietnam. There's like a quick joke that Robin Williams comes into the recording studio. He asks some question, and the camera has on one of those actors, and he's like, "Yes." And then the camera pans over, and it's his twin brother sitting next to him. He's like, "Yes." And Robin Williams is like, "Whoa, deja vu." And then the scene with Linda Hamilton, when the T-1000 morphs into her and they're staring at each other. Also, twins.
I'm trying to think of this.
Really?
In the steel mill. Because Linda Hamilton is a twin.
Is she really?
She is?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because doesn't he stab her too? In the arm or the shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that she was a twin.
I had no idea.
Oh, look, I'm learning things every day.
And I don't think her sister really was in that many movies. Identical twin sister Leslie Hamilton.
No kidding.
Older sister and a younger brother. Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Well, yeah, the makeup effects are great. They merged that, like the gunshot wounds of the T-1000, like that shot at the end with the eye. Just that's all makeup effects. As it like zooms back out, that's
jeez,
pretty crazy. It's good. Can I play the best quote?
Sure.
From the
Please.
movie?
Please do.
Ready?
Yeah.
Come with me if you want to live.
That's it.
It's a good quote.
I was waiting for the ad beginning.
No. Everyone says that. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, so many good lines, but...
Yeah. Hasta la vista, baby. How many times did you say that when you were a kid?
Oh, gosh. All the
Too
time.
many.
Yeah. And Edward Furlong was such a badass kid that when you were a kid, you're like, I wish I could be like...
I know.
I could run off with my friend on my dirt bike and
he's like
get
a rebel.
cigarettes and
Yeah, the guy from Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
And, but yeah, because you have it as your number 2. I have it as my number 1. And I was I struggled with it for maybe a half a second to where my number 2, I was like, well, maybe I should have that be my number 1. And then I was like, no, overall, Terminator 2. I feel like it's just a better movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the complete package.
Right.
It's in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it is. And yeah.
Now, how did you referenced, or you made a reference to the other Terminator? How do you feel the later Terminator movies? Have you seen all of them?
I've seen a few. So what was the next one? Rise of the Machines or something?
Yeah, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
Wasn't crazy about that. I actually, I really like the latest one. What was it?
Fate.
Dark Fate.
Dark Fate, yeah.
Was that with Linda Hamilton again? And then they had the new Terminator that was like really 2 Terminators. It was the skeleton and the T-1000 kind of. And then they brought Arnold back, and they had his story of like, you know, he tried to be a good Terminator after because he's the one who came back and killed John.
Yeah. In like the first 5 minutes and completely just fucked all over this movie.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, great storytelling, guys.
I know. That's what I didn't like about it.
How do you shit all over one of the most popular movies in the franchise?
But I did think that was the most entertaining one since T2. I did not like many between that. Like, even the one with Christian Bale, I thought was going to be awesome.
There was Terminator Salvation, and then after that, Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, and who played
Vanilla Face?
Sam Worthington was in Salvation.
Yeah,
Vanilla Face.
And Christian, I thought that was going to be good, and when we watched it, I was like, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
at all.
Genesis was terrible.
I don't think I saw Genesis.
It has Daenerys in it.
Yeah. Oh, the worst Sarah Connor.
Oh yeah,
she's a great Khaleesi, but she is not a good. Come with me if you want to live now, soldier. And I'm like, all right, you need to calm your tits and put some bass in your voice or something, because
get some bass in your voice.
You're not doing it right. And, which I mean, she looked like a young Linda Hamilton, but
didn't play it too well. No.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Genesis just because I saw the trailer and that line was in there, and I was like, nope. That'll be a big bag of nopes for me. And I never watched Dark Fate.
Dark Fate was, I mean, it's okay.
And the reason why is the opening scene when they're in the island and the Terminator walks out of the water or wherever the fuck he comes from and
kills John.
Yeah.
And but
I love the best part of that movie is when they're before like the final battle and Arnold's telling the story of somebody who's buying drapes. He's like, "You want to put polka dots in the room?" And I said, "No, don't do it." I about fell off the couch at that scene. I was like, "That's so good. It's so cheesy, but it's good."
I had when I was just out of college, it was before they came out with Terminator Salvation, because Part 3, a lot of people didn't like Part 3. I thought it obviously wasn't as good as Part 2.
Are you talking about Rise of the Machines?
Yeah, Rise of the Machines. Yeah. And I remember seeing it with my dad, and
that was like the origin, right? Like where they showed Cyberdyne taking over.
Yeah, they showed Judgment.
A younger John Connor.
Yeah, he was like in his early 20s, and he meets Claire Danes.
Wasn't he a drug addict in that movie?
He was. He was not in good shape. Yeah.
And they did a lot of callbacks to T2. Anyways, but I thought it ended very well, and I liked the way it ended story-wise, because Claire Danes' father sends them to a mountain, and they think, "Oh, we're going to blow up Skynet," and they're unaware
bunker,
that
right?
it's a virus, pretty much, just an AI virus. And they go to the bunker, and they discover, "Oh, we were sent here to survive." And I liked how they had the CB radio, or the intercom, or whatever they were. Shortwave ham radio. They were wondering like, what's going on, who's in charge, and that he's the only one that really knows what's going on. So it makes sense story wise why John Connor is the leader of the human resistance.
Right.
He was raised understanding this whole situation.
And her dad was the one who essentially flipped the switch on of Skynet.
He gave the order.
And
which he didn't want to.
Right. But the virus like made him feel like he had to, in a sense, right?
No, it was more of it. What was happening was, in that movie, there was a virus going through a bunch of computers and the internet and everything else, to where they were afraid it was going to infect the defense system.
Yes.
And they didn't want that to happen. They couldn't fight the virus any other way. They couldn't breach it or kind of contain it or anything. And they said, well, if you release Skynet will find the virus and stop it. And he's like, well, no, it's not ready yet, blah, blah, blah. But the twist of the story was the virus was actually Skynet created the virus, infected other things, and then once they released Skynet, then it was able to take over.
Got it.
Which I always thought would be funny because it infected all the computers. So there's like, you remember dorm rooms?
Yeah.
It was like back when you had computer towers, and not everyone had a laptop. So I mean, they were just stationary desktop computers were the main computers at that time. To where at the end, it's like they have the voiceover, the narration. He's like, Skynet infected every computer in every dorm room, and then, like as soon as the first time I heard that, I just pictured universities across the world, and there's just thousands of computers whirring away in the room by themselves, just like Skynet, like that's it. It's just like half of Skynet's just taking up CPU space.
Old piece of shit computers. You remember our computers at Purdue?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like an old compact that was like 10 years old.
5 minutes to boot up.
But the sad thing, I thought of the perfect. I had it like all outlined, like the perfect fourth Terminator movie that they should have made. This is before the Christian Bale one came out, to where it was going to take place in the future, and like I had outlined this whole. This is me just straight. Nerd, right at like
getting all the ladies.
I was either in college or it was like shortly after college. I would just sit in my room and just outline the whole thing out, and it was called Terminator No Fate. And the end of the story, it would kind of have callbacks to T2 and reference all the other Terminators, to where the whole movie is John kind of conversing or just kind of getting along with Kyle. And John's aware of who Kyle is, and obviously you'd have some kind of war thing, but overall he would remember back to what his mother always said, there's no fate but what you make for yourself. And they break in, so they're trying to get into the time facility so that way they can send Kyle Reese back. And throughout, you have action set pieces, blah, 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 but the whole thing is you get to the end and John Connor decides not to send Kyle back. Because if he doesn't send Kyle back, then there would be no reason to send the first Terminator, because the time loop would kind of loop on itself, to where if he doesn't send Kyle back, they would still send the first Terminator. But the first Terminator would maybe not kill Sarah Connor. Then John wouldn't be born. The timeline would loop back on itself again, and Skynet may or may not even be created, because Cyberdyne wouldn't have been able to piece together, reverse engineer the first Terminator that Sarah crushed into Hydra compressed, because they wouldn't have had that technology. So it created a paradox to where it would have just looped around itself, to where he would have stopped that future from existing by denying his own birth.
Right.
And by him denying his own birth, it would tie into the title with the No Fate, and then, but it would just be him, more or less, it'd be a father-son story. And because he would finally get to know his father, but then he'd make the decision not to send back. And I was like, oh, that'd kind of be a neat story. And
Yeah,
you could wrap up, you could close off the story, and you could have some sentimental ending, but they chose not to do that.
They kind of pick it up.
You didn't? Did you pitch it to him?
Yeah.
I did not. So I tried. I was telling people, like homeless people on the side, on my way to work on days, and they were like, "Sir, get away from me." And,
just give me $1, please.
But yeah,
I like that though. It's kind of like using the time travel against the machines. You know, like flipping it against them. I kind of like that.
So
you know,
No Fate.
Independence Day, using the satellites against
That's right.
them. That is creative though. I kind of dig that.
sadly, they didn't make anything like that.
No,
they didn't.
But
yeah,
You got to keep this gravy train rolling, baby. You can't end it.
yeah.
why would you?
Yep.
They're gonna make.
keep pumping them out.
Keep pumping them out.
Why isn't there another one out yet? I mean, it's
Dark Fate bombed pretty bad.
did it really?
They've spent like $200 million on it. I don't think it even came close to making back that because you need to make $400 million to break even. It didn't make that.
You know why I didn't do too well? Because it shat on
the
previous
T2.
Yeah, I mean
the masterpiece.
Here, let's completely make the fan favorite movie completely useless.
Not smart.
Yeah. But that's not my number one. That's your number two.
That's my number two.
That's my number two.
That's your number two.
That's right.
All right.
What was your number two?
Oh, my number two.
Yeah.
My number two. We traveled to 1999.
Oh yes.
And I'm sure
The Matrix.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So.
Is that your number one?
That's my number one.
That's your number one?
Absolutely.
That's not your number one.
I didn't put it on the list.
Okay. So.
What's your number one?
Yeah, you didn't put it on the list because you're wrong.
It would be my number one if I put it on the list. It would be.
Well, then technically it's your number one.
Technically.
This is like a participation award for your number one. To where
No, my number one is in terms of
good?
action movies. Yes, it's my favorite one.
All right. So The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Your number one.
My number
two.
one.
So
yeah.
It's the best computer-based movie in the 90s because you had The Net, Johnny Mnemonic, The Lawnmower Man, Hackers,
Strange Days,
and
wait, real quick, why was Lawnmower Man called Lawnmower Man if it was computer based?
I saw this movie like
I think he actually mowed lawns.
Yeah,
really.
He was he was
mentally challenged.
Yeah. And he was a landscape worker. He mowed lawns, and they had developed some kind of virtual reality, or maybe that's the second one. They blur, but I think they tried to augment his intellect using computers, and he was able to, I think, put his consciousness inside a computer.
Yeah.
And he became kind of like an AI.
So nothing to do with actual lawnmowers.
No,
other than the fact that
he mowed lawns.
They only
real creative title, though.
Well, they only called it that because it's based off a Stephen King short story called The Lawnmower Man. So they were just trying to tie in, hey, this is a Stephen King short story. Please go watch the movie.
Got it. Okay. Okay, please proceed.
That's Pierce Brosnan, by the way.
Really?
He's the engineer.
It does, yeah.
He's the engineer. Yeah.
So the best computer-based movie, which that means nothing, but there was a shit ton of crap computer-based because it was the 90s, the internet was new, and everyone was throwing that stuff in movies. But I mean, obviously, The Matrix, they created bullet time, which was something new they brought to the table, like just sticking a bunch of still cameras around an actor and then just stitching them all together to create a stop motion animation, more or less, or a flip book of an action. I mean, it seems so simple now thinking about it, but at the time, I was like, it was pretty genius. I liked it because they had a great use of wires for the fight scenes without it being too floaty. You get Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or some of the older Shaw Brothers stuff to where they use wires. I mean, everyone, like, they're floating around. There's no physics involved to where there's a couple of scenes in The Matrix where you can't see the wires, but like I think when Keanu Reeves does a backflip off the subway track, you see his hands kind of pressure against the wires. But the choreography with the subway fight and the Neo versus Morpheus, the fact that Lawrence Fishburne was mid to late 40s, but looked pretty good fighting. I mean, the guy wasn't like exactly svelte.
That's what makes this movie so cool. It's normally scenes like that, they're like stunt actors doing all that shit. In this movie, it's the actors doing it. You could tell they'd put a lot of time and effort into it. I mean, this is like the first movie to ever do that.
Yeah.
Where the actual actors were fighting.
The skyscraper shootout and the Morpheus rescue scene.
Oh yeah.
The best. That probably my favorite action scene ever.
How they did that practically, where the helicopter goes into the side of the building and it waves.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a computer. Like it's a computer trying to build back the building itself. How they did that practically is amazing. And they made it look like a wave. Crazy. Awesome.
The story also, it made sense to the story because typically action movies are so over the top, like the later Die Hards, everyone's a superhero and it just becomes so far-fetched. But all of the action scenes and the abilities of all the characters in The Matrix makes sense story-wise.
Yep.
because it's just them thinking they can do it, which I think is a great workaround because it makes those set pieces more believable because it's out of the ordinary. You're like, well, yeah, that could happen because they're playing a video game of themselves, kind of a thing, to where the story lent itself to the action as opposed to here's a story, but here's over the top action.
Yeah.
And which I thought was pretty creative and a nice way to kind of have those over the top moments, but without taking people out of the story. Like, bullshit.
Right.
But
Well, it was like unbelievably believable, like in a sense, because you're the way they explained it and framed it and set it up for, of course you can't jump from one building to the next or dodge bullets or do all this shit, but Morpheus, how like he's building up the entire movie trying to get Neo to believe, and then once he did, boom,
and the fact that and people shit on the sequels. Sequels I think are fine.
Didn't love them, but
yeah. But I like how in the sequels that the characters build off of that. They see Neo doing all these things, and because when Morpheus fights an agent in the first movie, it's him just kind of pumping himself up, knowing that he's probably going to die.
Yeah.
In the second movie, when he faces the agent on top of the semi-truck, it's more of, I could probably do this.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Neo just
dominate
their asses to them. Like, this is more believable to me now. So I like how they kind of touch on that a little bit in the sequels. But also the filmmaking of it as a film artistically is well done. You have the green overtones when they're in the Matrix, and then you have a more realistic color palette when they're in the real world.
Yep.
They have different digital representations of themselves. They thought about it a lot. I wish Warner Brothers would still make random movies like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And that, I mean, because it was so far out of left field, it's completely original. I mean, yeah, they took a lot of cues or inspirations from kung fu movies and anime and comic books, but completely original story. And I wish they still made out of the box movies like that that were just unique and would take a chance on something.
Yeah. Well, they framed, there's a lot of shots in it that are framed like a comic book. I remember a making of it, they were talking about that. I'm thinking of like the scene in Trinity where the cops come in and confront her. Like a specific shots, it's straight out of like a comic book panel.
The panel, or when she's laying on the bottom of the stairs after she jumped through the window, aiming at the guns, and you see that. I mean, it very comic booky framing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do the same thing with the anime framing, to where when they're having the subway fight, and Agent Smith has Neo pinned against the wall, and he does a super fast punch, and you have that bird's eye view down.
Yep.
That's a lot of anime framing, to where, like a lot of the action, they do that. So.
Yeah.
How good was Hugo Weaving as Mr. Smith?
Mr. Anders.
One of the best. One of the best. That's what action movies need to have. They need to have a good villain.
It's so good,
and he's awesome.
And then at the end, when he's like, "I've got to get out of here," like you
the
like
stench.
Like you just didn't see it coming.
Fungus.
Like you didn't see that coming. At least I didn't.
Yeah.
It was. I agree with everything you said. Like, and I loved how it was just so different from any other movie.
Oh yeah,
like so different.
That idea is. Have you ever heard the story how they approached Will Smith for the Keanu Reeves role, the Neo role?
Vaguely.
They couldn't convince him because he thought the idea was.
He thought it was stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah. And it's like, what was wrong with you?
I know.
But I'm glad because I thought Keanu was perfect.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Keanu was the best lead for that.
Yes.
Because, in this, I don't mean it as an insult, he is a very bland person to play a character.
Yeah.
He can be, people can relate to him very, very easily.
Yeah.
To where I feel like if they had gotten Will Smith would have been way too much Will Smith.
Yeah.
To where you would have been, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth. He'd be doing that shit, and
he wouldn't be believable as a loner computer programmer.
No,
exactly.
Like
not
a
at all.
recluse.
I mean, could he play that kind of a character? Sure, but at that time, they weren't getting Will Smith for him to play a loner recluse and start stretching, like working out his acting chops.
Yeah.
It was going to be, you're going to be Will Smith kind of a thing, because I guarantee Warner Brothers probably would have been like, no, you're going to be Will Smith.
Yeah, be Will Smith.
Yeah, we want the bad boys.
You're coming off Wild Wild West. We need some more of that.
Yeah.
Do we?
And to where Keanu Reeves, I think, was a very good person to have as lead character. He was understated. He wasn't overly dramatic on anything. He was very quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that allowed a lot of the audience to put themselves in his shoes and be able to discover the story with him.
Yeah.
And to me, I agree, and it allowed you to sort of like really root for him when he decided to, let's go save Morpheus.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck yeah, Keanu could do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was Will Smith, you'd be like, oh yeah, Will's got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wasn't overly confident. Similar to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Having Daniel Radcliffe, to where Harry Potter's character, he's just basically a good kid. Mm-hmm. And that's his character. He's not overly characterized. He doesn't have a very particular thing about him. They're like, oh, yep, that's Harry Potter. It's just a kid with glasses.
Yeah.
And Neo's just a computer guy. That's kind of, a loner, a little bit introverted, and not very confident.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but yeah.
I love
I mean, the idea is batshit crazy.
It is.
It's
I
so
know.
cool.
Yeah.
Such a
But
good idea.
It's so out there, though, and I love the way they end it with him. Like, obviously the next movies don't play into it as well, but when he like, I can tell you're scared, and it, like the Matrix system failure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, like, they put on the rage. Do-do-do-do.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
then, like, he flies up. And you're like, that's the coolest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty badass.
The reason why it wasn't my number one is because the love story between
Him and Trinity. Yeah.
Weren't feeling it?
I wasn't feeling it.
I
Because
disagree
it
with you on
didn't
that.
make sense.
But does-
like, if he died and then she whispers to his dead body in the real world, I'm not afraid because I love you. And it's like, so the power of love brought him back from in the real world and then made him alive again in the Matrix. Kind of like, that's the only thing that
The heart is connected everywhere, in virtual and reality.
But he already died. Now, I get it if he was still alive, but I'm pretty sure he flatlined.
He did.
Well, his mind. The mind cannot live without the body, or whatever he says in that movie.
Yeah.
So she brought his mind back, and then
Yeah.
he started believing.
And I get the whole, like the Christ representation. I mean, that whole thing, because he had to die, then be resurrected, and then he's the one, kind of a thing. I wish they would have gone about it a different way, other than using the power of love.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
I feel like they could have done it a little bit more clever way, but that was the only problem. I mean, I liked their love story. I felt they did a better job in the sequels. When, like, especially in the third movie, when Trinity gets stabbed like 15 million times and Neo's saying goodbye to her, that felt more of an emotional beat. More so in that movie than it did in this one, or in the second one when he like reaches inside of her belly and pulls out the thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which, if I could manipulate the Matrix, I think I'd probably just be like, "Oh, it's gone."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Don't have to be so dramatic. You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick this all the way inside you, and then I'm gonna pull it out.
Yeah.
The bullet.
Jay, you're such a romantic.
Yeah.
How'd you propose to my sister? You're like, you want to get married?
Nah. I just gave her the date.
Yeah.
And I was like, you be here. If not, there'll be hell to pay.
That's right. You regret it. Every second of it.
But that's the only thing. That's the reason why it went down in number 2. I felt like the emotional connection between the characters and the emotional connection from the viewer to the characters, and then also the emotional connection between the characters, I felt like was done better in Terminator 2.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. I just like the action scene.
Oh, the action is top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight. I mean, I don't know how many times I would just fast forward.
I know.
Just to the Neo fight with Morpheus, and then the subway fight. I was
I'll just randomly, if I'm doing my business in the bathroom, just randomly Google
like
you put on
Neo.
YouTube?
Yeah,
Oh,
shitting.
okay. Yeah.
Neo versus Mr. Smith, You know, because it's a good 4 or 5 minute watch.
Yeah.
And it's just so good.
That's the average poop length.
It is. Well, no.
It is?
No,
God,
no.
I'd watch it 8 times if it was 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can watch this 8 times.
I sit on the toilet till Heather texts me and says, "Where are you?"
I do it until my legs fall asleep, and then it's like I'm 85 years old, and I'm like I have to use my arms to walk out.
Do you ever just get off the toilet and then you just got to go sit on the bed? You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Well,
got to move the legs a little.
I get off the toilet, and then after obviously done wiping, but then I have to pull up the pants, and then I have to sit back down on the toilet and kind of stretch my legs out. So I kind of get
the tingle.
Because the
tingle's got to go away.
Completely dead. I feel like I just have nubs.
Yeah.
That I'm standing on, and I'm like, I'm going to collapse.
Absolutely.
And fall down.
Yeah.
And
and you can't do that in front of the wife because my wife has been in the bathroom, you know, while I'm doing my business, and then I'm like, all right, I need to get up because I can't feel my legs. And then you get up and you try to act cool, like you're just leaning.
Yeah.
But it's like I really can't walk right now.
See, I don't even try and act cool. I just I let out like a little whine. I'm like, ah! And then Christy will be like, "Your legs asleep?" I'm like, "Fucking pins and needles." And
See, I won't admit it. I can't because then she'll use it against me. She'll be like, "So you know, last time when you were in there that long, you know what happened."
We had to take you to the hospital.
I start
You almost
sweating.
lost your leg.
It's tough.
I know, but then
I can hear it right now.
I know you can. Yeah, I know. I hope she listens to this.
Yeah.
But I
How
love
long
that.
have you been on there?
How long does it take you to poop? Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
It is. I know. And then like
It's the only time we have to ourselves.
it is. I know.
Well, half the time it's not even by myself because I'll bring my Switch in
Yeah.
and then I'll start going.
Oh yeah.
Then my youngest.
My boys will just walk in with the
Come in.
Switch.
Oh,
yeah. They're like, "Dad, can you beat this Lionel and Zelda?" I'm like, "Yeah, watch out, son. Let me show you how it's done."
Come on in.
But anyway, on the Neo fight with Mr. Smith, I love how hard he worked. You know, he finally beat him, and then Mr. Smith's just like, "I'm back, bitch."
Yeah.
You know?
Pops out of the subway.
And then he's like, "All right, I'm fucking out of here."
Yeah. And the little things, just when he's guiding him through the cell phone, he's like, "Take a left," and
Your
he
other
goes
left.
right. He's like, "Your other left," and
Yeah.
but it could have been so bad because of it was such high concept at the time. Because I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, I was slightly confused.
Yeah, I didn't get it the first time I watched it.
And I was like, wait
either.
a minute, what?
But I was young the
And-
first time I watched it. And then you watch it like a few years later and you're like,
Oh. I mean, once you get used to
movie
computers, and you're like, oh, you were in a, yeah. And they
Right.
explain it all, but I mean, it could have missed the mark completely.
Yeah.
And a lot of audiences, and again, that's why I gave props to Warner Brothers for greenlighting this thing to where it was very high concept. They do a lot of explaining in the movie, but because obviously Neo, you're traveling with that character, it makes sense with the story. It doesn't feel like the story stops when they explain it because you're asking questions yourself watching. You're like, wait, all right, what's going on? And
Right.
about that time you're asking that yourself, they're explaining it in the movie.
Yep.
And they show it as well. Instead of just like sitting at a table and blah, 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 blah.
yeah. It's so good.
It's very good.
When Trinity,
Awesome movie.
Trinity goes.
But not awesome enough to have on your top 5.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Again, it would be number one if I didn't. I thought it'd be,
Yeah.
but it's not.
You know, Tom Brady would be the best quarterback ever if he didn't have 7 championships.
Well, that's good.
Right?
I see where you're getting at.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's just a revolutionary movie.
It is.
Everything tried to copy it afterwards. So I mean, it goes without saying, it's one of the best movies ever made. So
Yeah. I mean,
get the
outside
fuck
of
off
action.
my back. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fine. You're gonna survive.
Even if this was the best movies of the 90s, it's still there.
It
like,
is.
it's not just an action movie.
No. It really, it's great.
All right.
It's a masterpiece.
What was your number
Well,
one?
that was your number 1.
Yes.
My number 2.
Yeah. What was Matt's
So we only have
number
one movie left. Your number 1.
My number one.
Batman and Robin.
It's Speed.
Speed.
It's
Not
Speed.
bad. Not bad.
Hands down. I knew it was going to be number one on my list because it's probably it's my favorite action movie of the 90s. It's one of my favorite movies ever made, just because the pacing of it, it's so fun, it's so quick. The characters are great. Like I said, every action movie needs a great villain, and fucking Dennis Hopper is one of my favorite character actors.
Yep.
And he plays the best villain.
Mm-hmm.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On film, I think he's my favorite villain in this movie of all time, maybe. Just because he's funny, he's maniacal. I mean, Dennis Hopper's just great at like that, the edge of like crazy and just smart.
He has motivation for doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Jeff Daniels is great. He plays such a great straight guy to complement Keanu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like,
he's Keanu's partner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they started off great with the elevator scene where they're trying to stop him and he gets away. I mean, that whole sequence is great because you get to understand his thought process and how smart he is, and you're getting to know the villain a little bit. And then when he finally amps it up and you get on that bus, baby. You get on that bus and it's just... It feels like it goes by in like 5 minutes, and before you know it, you're watching like an hour. Because it's just bam, 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 bam. Just beat after beat after beat, and you're learning things, and it's just crazy. And I like how the people on that bus feel like everyday people.
Yeah.
Normally they would have like... Because there's like... I mean, they have Alan Ruck. He's a good actor. And the lady who falls to her death. I can't remember what her... But she's an actor. But everyone else in that... on the bus doesn't seem like an actor, really. They feel like the construction worker guy. I think he's an actor, but he feels like an extra that they just pulled off the street. Everybody else on the bus feels like people they just pulled off the street. They seem like everyday people that are scared and don't know what to do. It's got some of the best one-liners of all time. Keanu's great in it.
That
Such
was
a badass.
I have that as my honorable mentions because that was almost in my top 5. Because of the pacing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's crazy.
The whole movie's on a bus.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can keep that entertaining.
Yeah.
For hour and 45 minutes.
Hour and 45 minutes, yeah.
Is really well done. Great pacing. And I think that was the movie that made Keanu Reeves a star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, he had, I think, Point Break and Bill and Ted and stuff like that. But
Dracula.
He was big in Point Break.
Oh,
right?
Point Break is one of my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, he was big in that. But Speed was like, oh, yeah, Keanu's, he's here.
Sandra Bullock, that was her first notable...
Yep.
I think she was in Love Potion number 9 before that, but...
she was in Demolition Man before that.
Yep.
Before this.
When was the Practical Magic movie? Was that before this?
After.
It was after?
Yeah.
Is
that one of your favorites, Jason?
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I have a bubble bath. Nice book.
Right.
Light some candles.
Yeah, Heather watches all
I have
the
a
time.
night.
That's one of her favorite ones.
But Speed is it's a very good example of a 90s action movie.
Yes.
And when that came out, everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was it was one of those, it's Die Hard on a bus kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, really good.
It's a really simple idea. I mean, and you're, okay, don't go above 55. Don't go above 55. So it's so weird that they created tension for you looking at a fucking speedometer.
Well, I thought they couldn't go below 50.
Yeah. You're right. They couldn't go below 55.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. But then they had to jump that highway, like where.
Oh,
it was
that seems
gone.
amazing. Yeah.
Now, was there an actual ramp, or did
There's
the
a
bus?
ramp.
There was. Okay.
Yeah, there's a ramp.
And then the bus just kind of floated.
It was. It was a real bus.
It was.
Again, it's not CGI. It's a real bus.
Right.
Every stunt in that movie is real. So, it tails off a little bit at the end, but they more than make up for the way Hopper dies. It's so good. It's one of my favorite.
Remind me how he died. He gets blown up, right?
No, we're doing this.
Yep.
It's my favorite line in the movie.
I'm the guy with a plan, because I'm smarter than you. I'm smarter than you. Yeah? Well, I'm taller.
Yeah. So good.
I forgot.
I love it.
Oh,
it's good.
Decapitation by train subway light
sign.
subway sign. Yeah.
Yeah. That was just the best way for him to go out. That just came out of left field. It was awesome.
It was like personal. It was like Keanu.
Yeah.
He's really, he's like,
because I'm smart.
You deserve this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The thing I have about the ending of that with the subway.
What about it?
They can speed it up, but they can't slow it down. Is that how engines work?
It's very true. But it was broken. It couldn't go this way, Jay. It could only go up. So I love his logic. We're going to speed it up.
Yeah.
We're going to jump the train. It's like, at that point, it's like, fuck yeah, we are.
Might as well.
Jump it to where? The other track? No, we're just going to speed it up.
It's going to keep going. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but the stunt is pretty sweet. They actually had a train go through, and that was pretty cool. We're going to play another clip that I enjoy a lot.
Take this. I want you to tell him what I see. Okay! We got a wad! Pretty big!
There's a pretty big wad.
Brass fittings?
Brass fittings.
I think I can reach the circuit wire.
You can reach the circuit wire.
No, don't. That's a decoy. Classic.
That's your classic decoy.
What else?
What else?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Fuck me.
Oh, darn.
It's awesome.
Was that Cam from Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, it's Alan Ruck. Yeah. And you got little lines like that in there.
Yeah.
They lighten it up a little bit. It's funny. It's good. And Jan de Bont did it. He did Twister.
Twister was an honorable mention I had of mine.
And he was the DP for Die Hards and all that stuff. So he actually has an eye for action and all that stuff. But Speed. It's my favorite action movie. Just it's enjoyable. I can watch it whenever it comes on. Mm-hmm. It's fun. The action's amazing.
Yeah.
It's tense. Dennis Hopper steals the show.
It's a good number one.
It's Keanu.
Great actor.
Yeah.
I like Dennis Hopper in that better than I like Keanu in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Dennis Hopper has more to do.
Yeah.
Because, typically when you play a villain, you have a lot more leeway. You can have a little bit more freedom as far as what you want that character to do. With being a leading man, you have to be relatable. You have to carry the movie. And you can't be so far out there that you're alienating your audience.
Right.
Yeah. They don't make it to where it's just a dumb action movie. The whole plot line where they figure out how to outsmart him when they figure out that the camera's behind the rearview mirror and this is what we're going to do to loop it and get everybody off of it. That was really smart and well done. And his reaction's hilarious when he realizes it's looped. He's like, "Arr, arr." I'm like, I think of them like, okay, Dennis, you're really mad, and then he just starts throwing a fucking fit, doing what he does,
like a toddler fit.
Yeah. And he was like, cut print, check the gate. That's great, Dennis. Weirdo.
They're like, did you tell him to do that? No, he just did
he
it.
really scared me. We need to hurry up and go to the next scene. This guy's out of his mind.
Tell him it was great.
Yeah.
It's Dennis Hopper.
Don't make him angry. Yeah, it reminded me of. Have you ever seen Blue Velvet? Where he plays
Oh, jeez.
Jesus, he has a. Anyway, there's a scene in it where he sucks oxygen. I don't know if he was high during when he was. He sucks oxygen and he starts sniffing. It's David Lynch, so David Lynch probably directed it to be all weird, but he's sniffing oxygen and he's sniffing the girl in it, all weirdly.
Okay.
It's just a weird scene. Oh. That's what it reminded me of.
Sounds weird.
He had a flashback to his Blue Velvet days.
No, he just had a flashback.
Yeah.
Which he was also in a movie called Flashback with
was he really?
Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah.
I never even heard that.
I don't know if
I think that was the first. Outrageous Fortune was rated R, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was probably the first rated R. The first knowingly R-rated movie I saw, I think, was Flashback.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's average.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, what do you think? I can't believe you guys didn't even have Speed on your top 5.
No,
it was my honorable mention.
I just don't like it that much.
Really?
I don't know why. I don't have a reason.
Why are you a communist?
I don't know.
Do you hate America?
I do like America. I don't like Karl Marx, but I I don't know.
Wow,
I
you
never.
really going out on a limb there.
I never got into it. I don't know why, because it's a good movie. But like if I was passing that and, Bad Boys, I'd probably put Bad Boys on.
Would you?
I would.
That's fair.
But I don't have a good reason. Because it is a good flick. I mean, yeah.
So should we touch on honorable mentions?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Speed was an honorable mention of mine. You
Yeah.
mentioned, Point Break was an honorable
That was
mention.
on mine.
Good one. Yeah.
The chase scene through the houses and the yards and stuff.
Yep. That was
Awesome.
really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that was Catherine Hardwicke, right?
Catherine Bigelow.
Catherine Bigelow. Who's
Catherine Hardwicke is Twilight. So.
The fuck? Jesus Christ. I've never seen those movies, I swear to God.
I've never seen them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
One honorable mention I really wanted to put in here, I just couldn't get to it, was Desperado.
So that was,
a good one.
I had that mark, because I
Did you?
had,
Yeah.
the initial I had mark was obviously my top 5, but I had Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yep, I had that too.
And Desperado, and like True Romance, Speed, Blade, Fifth Element.
Yep.
Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Never heard of that one.
Never seen it.
It's pretty much a remake of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's got Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson in it.
Really?
And it is a beat-for-beat remake of
Butch Cassidy.
which the title sounds similar.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
But the same, they're being, I mean, they robbed a bank, and now they're being chased by these people. Mickey Rourke hates that movie.
Oh, really?
He thinks that's his worst movie. That's probably one of my favorite. Just I watched it so many times when I was a kid.
Okay.
So that was like a nostalgia pick.
Right. I felt bad not putting a Michael Bay movie on because I feel like he's owed some recognition.
I had The Rock and Bad Boys on there.
But they're not. The action pieces are good, but the storylines themselves are just so dumb to where the other 5 that I have on here, I just like the story more. Mm-hmm. And the action's, if not on par, better than some of the set pieces on like Bad Boys or The Rock.
Yeah. And Bad Boys, the first one was good up until the second one. I feel like Bad Boys 2 just did everything that Bad Boys... Yeah, everything that Bad Boys 1 did right, I feel like he perfected in Bad Boys 2. I mean, the action, the chase scenes, everything was really well done. I feel like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence were better, I mean, in that. But, yeah, I mean, The Rock, I feel like Bad Boys 2 is probably Michael Bay's best
one?
Yeah, a lot of people like The Rock.
I do like The Rock. I'm a fan of The Rock.
It's like a straightforward kind of a movie. I think The Rock is just like a general popcorn movie. I think The Rock is would probably be his best one, but I enjoy Bad Boys 2 is the one I enjoy the most.
Yeah. I do like Armageddon. I mean, it's sappy, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah.
I like the first Transformers. I think that one's good.
First Transformers is good.
I did too. Yeah. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I would like Michael Bay to make...
Was that 90s though? That was 2000.
Yeah, it's 2007. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I want him to make another Bad Boys 2-ish movie. Something somewhat grounded, not so much computer animation.
Yeah.
And over the top, 3-hour-long robots punching each other. Because I think he is probably one of the best action directors.
Oh yeah.
By far.
No doubt.
A lot of people give him shit, but he makes some entertaining movies. He knows how to put shots together. He knows how to amp up people, and there's a reason why his shitty movies make $1 billion.
Yeah.
And but I think he has so much potential to really do something special, but he just hasn't. I feel like, yet. But
I almost put ConAir on there because I just love Nick Cage so much.
Yep.
And that is probably my favorite Nick Cage movie. Just because I like it so much. It's just hilarious.
Put the bunny down.
This is just for you guys. Let's listen.
I said, put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah,
How can you not like Nick Cage?
I don't know. And that movie's so batshit stupid. I love it.
Every time I feel like that's a movie Michael Bay
directed
but didn't.
But didn't. Yeah.
And probably because it just came out around the same time that The Rock did.
It was the year after The Rock, yeah. And Nick Cage is in it.
Yeah.
So you feel like... I feel like they were like, okay, you're going to do The Rock, and now you're going to do ConAir.
Yeah. It's got Steve Buscemi in it, Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah,
I mean, does that have Michael Clark Duncan?
No, Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
And it's got John Malkovich. I mean...
John Malkovich. I despise rapists. To me, you're between, he says something, and that little white stuff that accumulates in the corner of your mouth when you get really thirsty.
The Crow, The Long Kiss
Oh,
Goodnight.
yeah, The Crow.
The Crow, yeah.
The
Crow, there's not that much action. I mean, there is action.
Isn't, and that's why I didn't, because it's more of a gothic...
It is.
It's a gothic comic book movie.
Right. But the story's great.
Yeah.
Love the story. And it just, The Crow, I had that on there too, but it's just, I don't remember it being that,
action.
It didn't have huge set pieces.
No.
It was mainly one-on-one,
Yeah.
kind of moody scenes.
Yeah, mine was on there. I don't know, but I stayed away from superhero movies.
Yeah.
The Fugitive.
Fugitive's good.
But it has a train sequence, but other than that, it's not.
There's not a ton of action.
It's not action.
No. Another great story.
Yeah, great
Suspense,
story.
yeah.
Great acting.
Oh yeah.
And great tension.
Right.
But it's kind of more of a thriller, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I had Rush Hour, but it's more of a comedy than I would say, because Jackie Chan. I mean, if you watch Rumble in the Bronx, you know what he can do. But Rush Hour, they kind of tone it, they push it back a little bit, so it's not.
Yeah. They feature Chris
full-fledged.
Tucker more.
Way more, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously he's there for comedy, not for action. But I mean, there's still some good scenes in Rush Hour.
Yeah,
like that.
It's a very enjoyable movie.
It's fun to watch. Yeah. And Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, I think they have pretty good chemistry in the movie. Do. Yeah, just like what's the one thing Tucker says? Like, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Like those types of lines are funny, like in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wouldn't have that in the top 5 though.
I have GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, GoldenEye and
GoldenEye.
Braveheart were my 5, and I went with Braveheart like literally as we were talking about number 5, because GoldenEye, God, I love that movie.
Yeah,
love it.
It's very good.
We talked about this before we started. I did have Under Siege.
Oh yeah,
an honorable mention because I enjoy the movie. I'll put it on.
It's very good.
I'll put it on because Tommy Lee and Gary are fantastic.
Yeah,
and this is before Seagal, got real bad. Before he became a Russian or whatever he became.
He just stopped cardio. He was like, I'm not doing cardio day anymore. That's not happening. Yeah. Someone's just going to bring me rice.
Exactly.
Rice and beans all day.
He's a cook. He's a yeoman.
Die Hard with
yeoman. He's a yeoman.
Which means, please.
Yeoman just means... Actually, yeoman isn't a cook. Cook is a cook. Yeah. A yeoman is like an admin person. Oh. They do like the HR admin stuff on the boat.
Are you guys talking seamen?
No, would you... Every time we talk about the Navy, semen comes out of this man's mouth.
All right. There's nothing wrong with semen coming out of my... All right.
Yeah.
But no, is that what your guys ranks on a boat? Navy stuff?
Oh, yeoman is like a job, like a machinist mate, or...
also known as a...
Seaman.
Yeah. Seaman's a rank.
Oh,
that is a rank.
It is a rank? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought everyone was a seaman. Like all Navy people are seamen, but not all seamen are Navy men. No, that's not right.
Well, Jay, it is 2022. We have to be we have to be politically correct.
That's right.
It should be C person.
That's right. We have to be gender neutral.
Yes.
Well, you don't believe women could be in the Navy?
Yeah, Jay. What are you saying?
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't be. Right? I mean, I tell my wife all the time to get in the kitchen, then she looks at me weird, and then I have to end up making dinner for something.
Yeah. Right. And you need to explain to her her role and
I mean, women aren't in the military, right? They don't.
Yeah, they cook and clean and.
Do they? That's weird.
Yeomans? What are they called?
Yeomans.
Did you have women on the submarine?
Not on mine, no.
Wow, Matt.
They do.
Jesus.
Tells us a lot about your ship.
There. Good God.
Yeah.
Why do you hate women?
I love women. It's such a great idea to put men and women together, especially 18-year-olds.
Yeah, it's not
in a pressurized
trapped in a
under
long,
sea
hard
for
tube.
45 days straight.
Yeah,
It's not a good idea.
It's a great idea.
What do you
There's
think?
no tension there.
What do you think? College dorms are separated. You know?
I know, no kidding. Yeah. Hey.
It'd be like Noah's Ark, going into it a time, then you're coming off after your trip, and like half your women are pregnant. And Jesus, like you'd run out of food. Like God, how long's our journey? A year. Shit, all these babies are popping out.
No.
Can we talk about real bad '90s action movies?
Oh man,
like Batman and Robin.
That's probably it might be the worst movie of the 90s, let alone action.
I mean, it was bad.
Just because such a big budget, so much was expected of it, and it just was a piece of shit.
Terrible. I saw that one in the movie. I remember seeing that in the theaters. Yeah. And probably at that age, I thought it was okay. You know, just because I loved Batman back then. But
did you like the nipples?
No. Or the butt, like the butt scene.
The butt scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the thongs going down the.
I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
I didn't like the back card. Never leave home without it. No. Even when I was 12, I was thinking, this is just.
It's not good.
Product placement, really.
I know. And there's big names in this movie.
I know.
Arnold, Uma, Chris.
I think it was in his contract. We need to have at least 13 ice puns if I'm going to do this movie.
Can I get a one-liner? You can get all the one-liners.
You can get all of them. Actually, I only want to do one line at a time, so
yeah,
I don't want to do any dialogue. I would say Batman and Robin's is the worst action movie of the 90s.
It's bad. Real bad.
I couldn't even watch it. If you forced me to watch it, I don't think I could watch it.
No.
I can't really think of anything that's...
I mean, I had Anaconda, honestly. We talked about that one.
So I used to love that movie.
Oh, I thought it was badass.
Remember in middle school you would go?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you would go on a date. You go see Anaconda.
Yeah.
And you thought it was awesome.
You watch it now and you're like,
it's aged.
What?
It's the worst aged action movie of the 90s.
But is it because John Voight was that good?
Well, what was he, Spanish or
no? He was
Venezuelan?
Portuguese.
Or he was Portuguese.
Something, I don't know. Like, you have a hunt snacks?
Yeah.
You want to go hunt snacks?
Still the better actor in that family.
That's very true. Oh, we got Ice Cube and wasn't Eric Schultz in that movie? Yeah.
Was he the English guy?
Owen Wilson was in it.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson was in it.
Yeah.
No.
Owen Wilson was in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Owen. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Luke. Oh wow, we're gonna get some snakes. Oh, we're gonna need Anaconda. Okay. Wow.
Oh God, I love John Voight in that movie.
Yeah, it's Voight.
Voight.
Yeah. But
I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say.
Okay,
that's all right. I can't say names either, so
I know.
it's all right.
Seaman, Yeoman.
You said it right.
Yeah.
Yeoman. Yeah.
He's a basketball player.
He is.
No, that's Yao Ming, right?
That's
no.
Yao Ming.
Okay. As soon as I said Yao Ming, I was like, shit, no, that's like a Chinese emperor.
Yeah.
I was like, do not talk about sports.
Yeah.
We had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, terrible, really bad.
Mortal Kombat, you think is bad?
Well, I loved it.
Yeah,
but
I still like it.
But when you watch it,
serviceable.
When you watch it these days, I mean, it just
it doesn't age as well.
It's not great.
Yeah,
it's not great, but it's also probably one of the better adaptations of a video game to a movie.
It held true to the game.
Yeah,
it did. Like, because they all killed each other right during the fights.
Yep,
for the most part,
yeah.
I think.
I remember the first time seeing Goro and thought, "Wow."
Yeah, I know. He's scary.
Pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cage.
Cage. Yeah. I didn't like Mortal Kombat. But right in the nuts, right?
Yeah.
Then he pushes him off a cliff.
Yeah, they had their signature moves.
Yeah, did the splits.
I know.
Got him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 90s definitely had. We had way more action movies came out.
Oh God.
Like every month.
Yeah.
Not a lot of action movies come out anymore.
No.
Just straight action movies. It's got to be a superhero or
you know,
superhero or a
yeah. The only action movies really is, I mean, you had the raid movies in the early 2010s, and then you have John Wick.
John Wick's like the exception,
But that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's all superhero animated.
Or dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So some more dinosaurs.
So much dinosaurs.
A lot of dinosaurs. Did you like Jurassic World Dominion?
I thought it was one of the worst movies I've gone to in a theater.
Did you fall asleep?
No.
I fell asleep in the theater.
But it was bad.
Yeah.
And I walked out. We went there with Heather and Liz and Luke and some other family members, and they're like, Heather, she's like, I thought it was pretty good. And then Jason, what'd you think? And I was like, I fucking hated that. Like, guys, this was bad.
Yeah.
So bad. Exactly how Hocus Pocus 2 is going to be.
Yeah?
I'm calling it.
You're calling it.
Hocus Pocus 2 is going to be the worst movie.
Well, Jesus, Jason, that's so brave of you.
I know.
Because
the first one was so good.
Years. Hey.
The first one is a classic.
First one is
the first one's
Halloween
terrible.
classic.
It's terrible.
You just didn't have a soul when you were a kid. It's all right. It's okay. Your childhood sucked. I get it. Mm-hmm. You got to take it out on Hocus Pocus.
I know. One thing I did see when looking through 90s movies, it was funny, was you remember Barbed Wire?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not watch that. I know what you're talking about, though.
Was there anyone, like, bigger? Not bigger, but, Pam Anderson was, like, the quintessential, like, that was, like, the girl in the 90s.
It was, yeah.
And she got her own movie just because she was good looking.
Because she was Pam Anderson.
She's Pam Anderson.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually never seen Barbed Wire, so I don't know how it is.
I've seen parts of it. I've never watched the whole movie, but the parts I saw were like...
Did you fast forward to the parts where she took her top off? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No.
Wait, she takes her top off?
I assume so.
Yeah.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah. You might want to watch. You might want to.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, good story.
Yeah, I know.
What's it about?
I thought it was about those corny tattoos that every single dude in the late 90s got.
Oh, the barbed wire?
Yeah, the barbed
Yes.
wire.
Yeah,
the
right around the bicep.
Yeah, right
you
around
know?
the bicep or the tribal tattoo or whatever that everyone got.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the guy's lower back tattoo.
I know.
That was the tattoo of the 90s.
Yeah. Tramp stamp for dudes.
Yep. Right
Tribal. Yeah, you're from England? That's where your family's from? Oh, you're Scottish? Great. Oh, you're German. Great. Yeah, a lot of tribal tattoos there, huh?
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
That are getting like the Chinese symbol.
Yeah.
Yep, that was another one.
Chinese symbols. That's
I'm
right.
so fucking deep.
It's very
Got
deep.
chicken noodle soup on my wrist.
Yeah. Chicken noodle soup?
Huh? Yeah. Half the shit's probably just ingredients
Oh,
to
yeah,
random
yeah,
Chinese
yeah.
food.
Yeah. Just random shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The I always think of like the low budget movies that I enjoyed but never really got the attention it deserved. Like I like The Phantom with Billy Zane, and I like The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
The Shadow
It's
is
very
so
underrated.
fucking funny.
I've never seen that
I
one.
love it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Is it a comedy, I'm assuming?
No, it's got funny parts in it.
Okay.
But the funny parts, for some reason, when I was a kid and I watched it, it just hit hard. Like there's a random scene. Oh God, he's walking out of the building with the leading lady, and he's like saying something, and a guy was thrown out of the window, or he's fallen from he commits jumps off a building, and he's like, man, I'm trying to think. Like he says something that's a pun of somebody falling and hitting the floor. He's like, oh, it's something. God damn it! I wish I could.
I know it's been a while since I've seen it.
But
visually, that movie's pretty cool for '93.
He's like, oh, I'm waiting for something to hit me or something that, and it's like he falls like right behind him.
And it was trying to go for that because Dick Tracy came out in '90, and there was like that resurgence of like pulpy 1930s comics.
Yeah.
And The Shadow was part of that guild, and Dick Tracy did well enough that they said, sure, we can do The Shadow, and it didn't do very well. And he didn't get anything. I mean, he had The Phantom.
Yeah.
It was like the next pulpy superhero movie that they greenlit.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean, I like The Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for a commentary. You can make fun of it. Yeah.
Cloud men's minds.
Yeah.
But
I noticed that Dennis Rodman was in movies in the 90s.
Oh, Double Impact?
Team.
Yeah. Oh, Double Team.
Yeah.
Double Impact was the other. That was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah,
he played a twin.
Yeah.
He played a twin. Yeah.
No, but he's with Jean-Claude in Double Team.
Double Team. Yeah. Yeah, that happened.
It did.
Why did they give NBA people movies in the 90s?
Don't know.
Right.
Because
the hit thing to do.
Jordan did
Space
Space
Jam.
Jam, and then Dennis Rodman felt like wearing a
missing
dress
out.
just wasn't enough to get enough attention anymore. So I want to be in a movie.
Yeah. Just dye your hair rainbow colors, and we'll put you in there.
I know.
People will think you're. Wasn't he supposed to be a spy?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Did Dennis Rodman dye his hair before or after Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man?
After.
fucking copycat.
There's a awesome documentary called The Last Dance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 10-part series. It's like a 30 for 30 on.
And I
it's on
took that
Netflix.
personally. I've seen that meme. So that's the only reason why I know it.
And in the third episode, where they focus on Dennis Rodman, he talks about, I saw Demolition Man, and I just thought it looked really cool.
Oh shit, that was he really?
He said that. Yes.
So he literally copied it. Yeah.
Yeah, he copied it. Yeah.
Douche.
Then of course, I think Blade's probably the best superhero movie of the '90s.
Blade was awesome. Yeah, Blade was very good.
Yeah, the fight scenes in that was just
great.
Really good.
I don't love vampire movies, so like it was hard for me to go. I had Blade on my honorable mention list, but I don't know. I don't know.
But you're not a big Twilight fan?
No, fucking hate Twilight.
Is Blade where he says, "Motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill" or something like that?
I think so. He said it really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
anything more to add?
Anything more, Jason?
This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a good
What'd you
time?
think of the studio? Hold on.
Yeah.
Studio first impression. More titties or less titties than you imagined?
The studio. Well, let me answer this as if my wife is listening. The studio is professional.
Yes.
My chair is very comfortable.
Good.
And
it's the finest wicker.
The finest wicker
Handcrafted.
I've ever.
Probably by
on.
5-year-olds and.
Yes. And I love the desk we have here.
Yeah.
We could shoot pool if we wanted to after.
Yeah. It is about the size of a pool table.
Yeah, it is. But
right on there.
Let's pretend my wife's in bed now, and the strippers were a good touch.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
I appreciate them.
And I like how quiet they are.
Yeah,
because you would never
can't
know
even
if you're a
tell.
listener.
You can't tell.
You just can't.
I know.
Thank you, Monica.
Yep.
Money's on the dresser.
Oh yeah, this was a good time.
Well, thank you for coming on. It was fun.
Oh, let's recap
thank you
the
for
list.
having me.
Yeah, recap the list.
Recap the
Let's
list.
recap the list. All right, Jason, run through your top 5 once again.
Number 5, Braveheart.
Yep.
Number 4, Independence Day. Number 3, Saving Ryan's Privates. No, I'm sorry, Private
Shaving.
Ryan. Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Ryan Privates.
Number 2, The Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, best movie of the 90s, best action movie probably ever, The Matrix.
Yeah. Mine. Number 5, Tombstone. Number 4, GoldenEye. Number 3, The Mummy. Number 2, The Matrix. And number 1, Terminator 2. Probably the best action movie ever made of all time.
Number 5, Mission Impossible. Number 4, Rumble in the Bronx. 3, Cliffhanger. 2, T2. And 1, Speed.
Mm-hmm. And The Matrix wasn't on there because it was too good.
Yeah.
It's too good for my list.
So Speed gets the participation award. But listeners, what'd you think? Whose list did you like better? And why? Let us know in the comments or email, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Please.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let us know whose list you liked. Also, let us know your top 5 90s action movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guys have a different list, movies that we just completely missed or didn't even mention, yell at us and tell us we're stupid.
Anaconda will be on there, guarantee it.
I guarantee it won't. I will delete your comment if you put Anaconda on there. Yeah. Jason, thanks again for coming.
Thank you, gentlemen.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good time.
Should do it again.
I hope to.
All right.
Yeah.
Join us next time as we talk about Hocus Pocus Part 2.
Yes.
Because Disney has the best track record of just scrounging up previous IP 30 years after the fact and making a sequel. Nobody does it better than Disney.
It's going to be successful, though, and I hate to say it because I've already talked to multiple women who are having watch parties.
Well, that's fine. I believe that they will watch it. However, my prediction... What's your prediction, Matt?
My prediction is it's going to be very subpar. It's going to be very boring. It's going to try to hit the familiar beats from the first one.
Yeah. It's going to be Jurassic Park Dominion because they're bringing all these old actresses back.
Yeah.
just like Jurassic Park did,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, because they're old actresses. They should be young.
No, because their heart's not in it.
Well, I don't know. I disagree. I think all three of them wanted to be back in it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're just too old. I don't know. I do think they're too old.
Because once women get past 35, then they should be thrown away and bring in new ones.
What good are they at that point?
I agree.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. It's just going to be blah.
Blah. Yeah, I think everyone's going to have watch parties, and everyone's going to watch it, and then everyone who is fans of the original will feel let down because they are no longer 10 watching this movie. They didn't watch it 20 times in a row every year for the next growing up. It's like you said, it's going to do a lot of the same beats. And I think people are just going to feel let down because they're going to realize, I'm not
10 years old
10 years old anymore. And the main characters are 16, and I can't relate to a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Or 60, right?
Yeah.
And
how old are the old?
Here's what else is going to suck about it is the kids in this movie are going to be overly intelligent. They're going to know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
They'll probably make zero mistakes, except for when they summon the Sanderson sisters back, but then they're going to make all the right choices throughout the rest of the movie. They're going to be outsmarting them. They're not going to make,
there won't be any real struggle or
no
any
struggle.
kind of suspense.
Yeah.
It'll be, we could just do this.
Yes. Yeah.
How many times will the Sanderson sisters be on social media in this movie?
Ooh, that's a good. I like that.
They will make a selfie reference.
They have to. Yeah.
Yep.
Or a
TikTok
a
or
Snapchat or whatever. Yeah. Something will happen with social media.
I think you have to.
Yeah. And I'm going to hate it even more for that.
They'll probably be recorded by a bystander. Like they'll pop up on social media like, oh, look at these crazy, look at these Karens, and they'll be like talking about something. But
will they sing though? Will they have them sing?
Oh, of course. Yeah, they'll do a musical number. Yeah,
they can't be good.
Well, it's Bette Midler. She could probably still belt it out, right? Yeah. What are
Why
you saying?
Do you hate women?
Yeah.
I don't not hate women. I like them, but I just
I think not hate women.
I think that she's
I can tolerate
old for singing in a movie. I don't know.
Well, she still sells out concerts. I heard
to like grandmas.
Yeah, grandmas love them. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I could be wrong.
It's gonna be. It's gonna seem overproduced too. Like these newer things that they reboot, especially in Disney, they just seemed overproduced.
And it's a Disney Plus, so
right. It's this Friday, right? It's coming out.
I believe it's 30th.
30th,
yeah. So I have very, very low expectations, but
I do too.
hopefully
it's pretty enjoyable.
Pleasantly surprised because, again, I think it's going to boil down. They're going to miss their target audience.
Yeah.
I think
that'll be the biggest fail because their target audience are people in their 30s and 40s and late 20s.
They should have kept Zachary Binks in it.
Thackeray
with the TH.
Binks, Thackeray. Maybe he didn't need to be with what's her face. Like maybe they didn't end up together. You know, maybe they just had a story about them older, living in Salem still, and they have kids. And for whatever reason,
Thackeray's the ghost.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're talking about the
Max.
Yes, Max and
Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah. Have them still be the main characters, but they have kids, and then some of the Sanderson sisters, and then they're with their kids, and they're off on these hijink adventures or whatever.
They need to
Make a
bring
story
back
about that, because you're right. That's your target audience. You know, we grew up with them. We're gonna follow a story with a bunch of 16-year-old girls.
They need to bring back those two bullies and make them.
I know.
Ernie,
40, 50 years old. Just
I guarantee they make a cameo in this movie.
That they should.
What they should have done, hard R.
Oh yeah. Nice and gory.
Oh yeah.
Just have
Touchstone put it out.
Yeah.
Can't even be on.
Is that
Disney
even a thing
Plus.
anymore?
Have the Sanderson sisters
so.
casting spells, killing people. Just going crazy.
Yeah. Slaughtering kids.
Will the cat be back? Will Thackeray come back, you think?
Oh,
I'm sure they have to.
Yeah.
They love doing the old callbacks.
I know Billy's back.
The zombie?
Yeah, he's in the teaser, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. Wow. Yep. Well, there won't be Gary Marshall because he's no longer with us.
Who's
Neither
Gary?
is Penny Marshall.
Or Penny Marshall.
Who were those two?
They were the couple.
Yeah.
They thought he was the devil.
Yeah.
They go to their house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
He was a good actor.
He was a good actor.
He's fun.
Good director too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's next episode.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus Part 2. This time it's personal.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah. No.
No.
I think it's just Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, join us next time. We'll talk about Hocus Pocus 2. Also, in the episode after that, we'll touch on House of Dragon episode 6 and 7.
That's right.
So, but yeah, hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know what your top 5 list is for your best 90s action movies. Comment on our website, castwithnoname.com. Links and web addresses and emails and all that shit's in the description. So, but Jason, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Great job.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Good. Until next time, Jay.
Until next time, man.